Well, hello there everyone, and welcome to day 4 of the Onslaught Legends Series. And as you all can see, we brought someone new today. Adam is joining me. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing wonderfully. I'm very excited because you have me on. I know it's always a bother because then you have to do all the talking while I'm just looking there with eyes wide open, trying to understand what's going on. But it's really cool to be here. There's going to be some really good matches today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them. So, yeah, exciting stuff.
Same for me, same for me. First of all, though, let's remind everyone to press that F5 button on Twitch to start claiming the drops, because those should be live as of 10 minutes ago. And as we can see today, it is the 19th of September, day 4 of the OLS. Today, once again, 4 OLS tokens up for grabs. Those will obviously get added to your OLS token account, I guess, if you have that bank accumulated already. And with those in the OLS token store in-game, you will be able to get a lot of wonderful goodies, including some pretty rare premium tanks. And yeah, that being said and done, today's matches, we just saw them, and we are going to start off with a cracker there. Conquest against Hit and Run.
Yes, that's going to be an interesting one because Hit and Run, of course, are the favourites, but they weren't doing very well so far. So is Conquest in with a chance, maybe upsetting Hit and Run even further?
I think it will be pretty hard for Conquest, to be honest. Like Hit and Run, they are recently hit and miss team, as Moff would say.
Nice one, Kai. Very good.
I stole it from Moff, to be honest. But yeah, they're kind of hit and miss, although on Monday they did actually manage to qualify for the WCI in China.
Kai, wait a minute though. Look at that. 57,000 euros already in the prize pool. That's crazy.
And it's growing, and it will continue doing so until October 10th. So even if you haven't yet, guys, get yourself the Diamond Bundle for the OLS. 100% of the proceedings will be given in towards that prize pool. So Wargaming isn't keeping a penny of that. We're giving it all towards the players, and 50% of that will be going to the first place of the OLS, which is obviously still to be determined, but that is a lot more than pocket change.
Yeah, so I tried to get my sticky fingers on it, but I was stopped by Kai, rugby tackled. Yeah, so do you think we'll reach 60,000 soon?
So personally, I'm hoping for over the weekend. That would be my hope. I mean, when we internally pitched it, like I was the one saying, 50,000 would be nice. Everyone called me crazy, and here we are, 57 and a bit and counting. And also on top, we will have starting next Sunday the OLF as well. So our friends from across the pond, the Americans, will be juggling it out in the Onslaught Legends finals for a prize pool total of 15,000 US dollars. The first one is going to take 10,000 of that, so not too shabby either. And once again, we see the matches for today. We are going to kick it off with Conquest and Hit and Run, clear favorite. What about the second match?
So yeah, the second match, Solyanka versus Mafia. Now that's one that I'm really looking forward to, because all the talk around now is about Solyanka, who are doing very well. They're one of the new arrivals, and they've been absolutely destroying it in the past few days. They've beaten, who they've beaten? They've beaten Hit and Run, right?
Yeah, they've beaten Hit and Run, and like they have not lost a single match yet. That is why they are on top of things right now. They are the only team with 9 points here currently in the OLS, and I think if you had asked anyone before the start of the season, then probably not very many people would have predicted the outcome that we have as it stands right now. With Solyanka on top, then, I mean, a lot of teams tied for points here. Storm, W, Mafia, Hit and Run. And then in place 6 with only 3 points is Cashback. That's also crazy.
That boggles my mind. Cashback are one of the clear favourites, but they've just been bungling it a bit. But back to Solyanka, because we see Storm in the second place. They've also beaten Storm, who have also been doing very well, and they're the first ones to be seeded into China, right?
Yes, exactly. So on actually 2 days ago, not even 48 hours ago, Solyanka did beat a Storm on day 3 of the season. That was pretty crazy. And 2 more teams that we haven't mentioned yet in that lineup were Conquest and who are now playing, and Clueless. They didn't manage to pick any points up so far. I think Clueless managed to go to tiebreaker once, but obviously with those brutal rules right now, getting to tiebreaker doesn't really give you anything. You don't get any points for that. You need to win the match, which is what both of them weren't able to do so far. And here, the team lineup of Hit and Run, at least they were very confident when they were taking the pictures. At least that's how it looks, like how they're looking into the camera.
Those are some steely gazes there, right there. They're ready to rumble.
I mean, their only loss so far against Solyanka, and now, I mean, they are favored in this match. Let's not kid ourselves. Conquest is the underdog, but obviously they'll try to do everything in their power to secure their first points today.
Yeah, it would be nice, but to be honest, that a miracle would have to happen for them to climb out of those last two places, right? Because we're already halfway through. They've got nothing so far, and it's going to be a tough fight.
It is going to be a tough fight for Conquest, not for Hit and Run if the community predictions are to be believed.
That's brutal. Ugh,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 97%, that is, yeah.
Yeah, I understand the sentiment, but still, I believe that Hit and Run might be a bit nervous right now, and Conquest could use that to their advantage, at least to give them a good fight.
I mean, from the point of view of Conquest, really, they've got nothing to lose. They've got everything to win, in my opinion. And that is kind of the mindset that hopefully they'll be going with. That being said and done, some player statistics here. All of those statistics come from the previous playdays of the OLS. 90% pen rate. For,
how's that possible? Kai, 90%.
That is pretty good. Average damage 3.6. For randoms, I think most people would consider that more than okay. And for OLS, for a 7v7 Onslaught, that is absolutely crazy. A KD of 2.3, also pretty good. And anything and everything, the thing that you saw below, that is the tanks that the people usually pick. So yeah, he seems to be quite versatile. Quite versatile as well are pick and bans.
So, a Hit and Run have picked Airfield. So, Airfield, that's an interesting map. How do you expect them to play on there?
So, I think I have a clue of why Hit and Run might have picked Airfield. It is a mostly slow map. Like, it is very, very tactical, and it mostly comes down to, like, sometimes even individual trades, individual decision-making, and I think that is why Hit and Run picked it. They can play super aggressive, but they can also play very tactical, and I think that is where Hit and Run kind of sees the edge for themselves with all of their combined experience against Conquest. They don't want to get surprised. That is why we see the Airfield pick coming through. Now, map number 2, that one would be Westfield, and it kind of turns on top of what I said, right? Hit and Run trying to play tactical, trying to play controlled, and Conquest trying to surprise Hit and Run. We'll see if they will be able to do that on Westfield. First of all, though, we are already loading into Airfield.
Yes, Airfield. So you think that Hit and Run are going to try and slow it down and just let their experience shine through? Yeah, I think that's a good tactic. Oh, here we even have the predictions. So they're pretty much similar, really. You've been picking 3-1, Daki 3-0. I've picked 3-1 as well. So I do hope that we see at least the one from Conquest. I do hope we see even more from Conquest because it'd be a nice upset, and I like a little bit of upsetting.
I mean, we've had quite some upsets throughout the league already, so maybe today is one of those days as well. But yeah, I mean, the predictions by the casters here, it does just signal that Conquest is the vast underdog. And honestly, when you see those predictions 3-1, 3-0, 3-1, that means that probably all the three of us were considering between both of those options. And, you know, both you and I, the kind-hearted natures that we are, we were like, all right, Conquest is going to take a round, whereas Daki from North America, he just started shooting, he just started blasting 3-0 period.
But that's the thing, I think if OLS taught us anything, it's that we should expect upsets, right? And here we've got some tanks as well. So Hit and Run, what are they going with?
Hit and Run, they're coming in with Inspire Medium, Centurion Action X. They have a Bliskavitza Minotauro 268v4, double E4, and an EBR. That's pretty interesting on Airfield of all maps. I think that is the first EBR on Airfield. And Conquest, I think, rather conservative with their lineup. Double 60TP, one mouse, 1277, double bat chat. That is something that Hit and Run will have to watch out for. And the Bliska as well, as we do see the opening. And I think Hit and Run, they pick the EBR so they can take the northern point of information, the spotting tower, as soon as possible.
And Hit and Run have really put all their cars into the now quite well buffed TDs, right? Because TDs now don't have the reduction in a reload, but rather their special ability is a reduction in damage. So are they counting on that to just overpower Conquest in the first few minutes of the game?
I think that is kind of what we're seeing here. I mean, Hit and Run in total, they've picked 5 TDs with that Juggernaut ability. So as soon as the ability becomes active, then Hit and Run is going to take a lot less effective damage and DPM from the team of Conquest.
That
but
EBR,
obviously,
what is that doing? It's doing a very wide flanking maneuver.
yeah, indeed, the EBR is behind everyone, but that being said, Lemissandros already has taken a lot of damage, down towards 772. Needs to be very, very careful, even though he can reduce the incoming damage. The EBR from the sidelines also sidestepping, but Conquest, they're trying to react, and they're doing so up in HP by a lot, and those double 60 TPs trying to push into the cap against the Minotauro.
Yes, Chisek is a bit low on HP there, and Pan's Fury also getting a few hits in, but it seems that they managed to pretty much split Conquest in half. Oh, but we got the first kill there, and it's on the side of Conquest getting Chisek out of the game.
Yeah, it seems like Conquest managed to do what they want here, and that is surprise hit and run. But now the boys from Poland are starting to bite back. Triple push here out of the cap in towards 4 tanks by Conquest. And so far, this seems to be not working out for hit and run, who are down in HP. Pan's Fury starting to push in. He has a lot of one-shots in front of him, but he just needs to convert his shots, which they're unable to do so far. Danatka also down towards one-shot. No. Finally, triple kill coming through for the team of hit and run. But they are still down in HP, but up in friendship, and most importantly, up in guns.
Very well said. But the mouse there was a bit too slow on the uptake. You can see that that's where the speed of maybe a different tank would have helped out, because it wasn't there in time to support its beleaguered buddies. Lemissandros managed to get a kill there, but Rexar picked him up right after that. The EBI is still driving around, causing trouble and mayhem. What do you think, Hyde? It's still pretty... Well, Hit and Run has not got a lot of HP, that's for sure.
It is still neck and neck here regarding guns, but Hit and Run down basically half the HP of Conquest, albeit a lot of that is on Radim, the wall as some call him, in that mouse, taking it out against Ketsai. Currently, Ketsai with a good shot, the Minotauro gun handling and the penetration not the best, but he manages to make it work for now. But now, what is Mentos going to do in the EBR? He is the wild card, and he needs to play an spectacular game of Onslaught here if he wants to carry his team. That being said, his dreams might get cut short, actually.
See him there? He's hiding. What is he going to do? Is he just spotting, or is he trying to get the Batchat out of the game? No, he's letting him through so far. The Batchat is another one that's a lot of HP still in there. It's got a lot of damage potential, right? And while the Batchat hasn't been picked so much lately, now it's might be the game changer in this match.
I mean, the Batchat has come back into fashion after the buffs here, but Ketsai doing a number on towards Dani, who's down to 1331 HP. Radim starting to push on towards Monster, might take another shot of damage for that, but after that, the Centurion Action X, the Inspire Medium might possibly fall. Radim now, I think he has put himself into a position where he needs to push. He gets the kill, actually, and Ketsai unable to get the shot, as it seems that intra-clip reload in that Minotauro. It just feels like an eternity when you're the one reloading. But the kill does come through, so 2 versus 2, and somehow Hit and Run have managed to come to from half HP, being on 2.5k total, towards an HP advantage of 200 in the 2v2 now.
I think this is all down to their superior experience, because managing to hold on for this long, managing to take a game that seemed to be pretty much lost, and now being neck and neck, it's pretty spectacular. But Ketsai managed to now get a strike. Will he use it? Or yeah, he's using it now on Dani. Will it hit? No, he managed to drive away. Nice one, Dani.
Indeed, Dani just barely makes it out of the strike here, and that means that 2 abilities have been used for nothing for Hit and Run. That was a strike and also the information tower, but Mentos, I think, playing an absolutely fantastic, a very mature game. In that EBR 105 is now in the balcony. Doesn't seem to have CVS though, because he doesn't spot Flawless driving in towards that bush. And that is a problem here for the team of Hit and Run, because realistically, the burst potential, the DPM is on the Minotauro. The EBR, it can do some very, very nasty things, but what it cannot do is DPM the Batchats down. Flawless is a possible one-shot there for HE in the EBR with 537 HP, but Dani, that is APCR plus HE. That is definitely a two-shot, if not a three-shot for that EBR, and we all know that EBR reload is also very long, 10 seconds for a single shot. So we'll see. The other thing that we should note actually is that Conquest started with 3k HP more in the game. As the HP are now even, and as the kills are also even, this means that Hit and Run must have dealt more damage, which in turn means that for the tiebreaker rules, as the kills are even, Hit and Run is currently winning, and that is, I think, why we don't see them committing. Who are committing, though, are the tanks of Conquest. They need to, but Cat's Eye just pre-aimed. He knows. He is absolutely a Noah.
Yeah, there we go. Danny missed 2 shots there. Now he's going to have to reload for... Yeah, now he's gone. That's done. Wow, that was amazing. What a ballet there at the end. Just them dancing around, trying to get into a good position. Then finally Conquest did commit, but it didn't just work out. That was an amazing game. That was very exciting.
It was definitely an amazing game, but like even after this game number 1, I think we should already be concerned for Conquest here, because yes, that's only a single point in this best of 5, but if we think back, they were up so much HP. While having the same amount of tanks, they still had 2 Batchats, which realistically can be used as playmakers, but somehow Hit and Run with individual plays, with individual trades, managed to come back from that HP disadvantage. And realistically, that is a Hit and Run team. All those inbuilt players, right? They are known for just yoinking the victory from the jaws of defeat, and whenever they do that, they have seemed all but unbeatable in previous tournaments.
Look at the damage on that Minotauro. That's over 7k there on the side of Hit and Run. That's pretty devastating. But no, I think what we talked about at the beginning of this match, that Hit and Run picked Airfield to slow it down, to give Conquest the room to make mistakes, and I think that precisely what happened there in the end, because the match dragged on for so long that Hit and Run could use its experience and get back into the game. But on the other hand, the case that Conquest even managed to get into that position is still pretty huge. It means that they do have a chance of maybe taking out Hit and Run in those early minutes of the game. They did really well.
I mean, in the end, it really was down to the wire. Like, yeah, Hit and Run had 2 tanks alive, but if the engagements there go a little bit differently and the 2 Batchats manage to pick up the 2-shot Minotauro, then all of a sudden it's an EBR that needs to make plays because, well, he's alone against 2, meaning the other team is currently winning. No. He is a single EBR that needs to make plays against 2 autoloaders, which both of them are not one-shots. But Hit and Run somehow managed to come back from this, let's be realistic here, from this huge disadvantage that they had, somehow able to pull through. And if you're any other team right now, that must be scary. And at this point in time, especially for Conquest.
Yes, but I do think it's still glossing over the fact that they got into that disadvantage as well, which also wasn't very spectacular on their side. So I do think Conquest does have a chance if they strike fiercely, aggressively enough to make that happen again, but this time deliver the kill. Because it's slowed down too much. Hit and Run managed to come back together, and then of course the experience shine through. But what happened there at the beginning, Kai? Explain it to me. How come that Hit and Run got into such a disadvantage?
So what happened there at the start is that Hit and Run committed like in towards the cap, lost a bit of HP there. They started off with a disadvantage, and then from there on it played out. That being said, though, second round already starting here, and Hit and Run coming in once again with that double E4 plus Minotauro combination, a 277, a mouse, an i7, and a 50B, and for Conquest, Adam.
So the Conquest is now going quite heavy with the 60 TP and 2 Batchats. So they're going in heavy with the firepower. Radium is taking the mouse again. He did well with it in the last game. He managed to hold the ground for quite a long time and managed to get some damage in as well. If I seem to remember correctly, 3.5k damage, so which isn't bad in a mouse. Definitely not in this setup.
Yeah, and I think the tank to watch out for also on Conquest's lineup is that Gorilla with that sniper ability. Because if you're unspotted while you shoot and you do damage, that means your alpha actually gets increased, and if you're unspotted while the ability is active, you are basically pinpoint accurate. That is basically an amount of accuracy which otherwise in World of Tanks you're not able to achieve. So on top of the Onslaught modifier of being accurate already, you get an ability making you accurate. And yeah, the alpha increase basically means that the Gorilla can hit for like 900, 1000. So that is nothing to scoff at. That being said though, Hit and Run here with the opening, they're immediately going to secure themselves the arty strike, and Mentos does drive over in towards the information tower. He does get reset, but I think he should be able to stay safe. And this means that Hit and Run at the start of this game, right from the get-go, yes, they lose a little bit of HP, but they secure themselves the arty strike plus also the information tower. That is a lot of assets to work with.
Also, it seems that Hit and Run decided that they're not comfortable in having that HP disadvantage. Maybe that's why they took the mouse this time around?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Rexar is playing around there in the cap. He's currently accumulating a few cap points, but that is at this stage in the game more like something to bait out a reaction from Conquest, which is now coming. Radim is just going to mirror that in his own mouse, respectively. But yeah, over time here, I think Hit and Run is going to have the sort of better cards, better positions. That being said, Mentos takes one by the Minotauro. They're trading it out, and obviously the Minotauro does have the higher alpha damage. But over time, Hit and Run just have more assets to work with, simply because they have the information point, plus they have the only arty strike on the map under their control.
And they'll be getting another arty strike very soon. Did they already use the first one?
No. So if you look at the left currently, Piotr still has it. So they're holding on to it for now, which is practically, like, it is not a bad thing to do. You can just keep accumulating arty strikes on all of your tanks because, well, 1 does 400, 2 do 800, and 3 do even more, obviously. And that makes it extremely scary because if you manage to put one of those tanks down towards 1k and you have 3 strikes, then you just kill him. So...
Yeah, that's definitely true. Conquest with their Gorilla there at the back, he hasn't had a chance to get a shot in properly yet, but he is locking down that lane quite a bit. Overall, it feels like a much slower game than the last one. No one's doing any big pushes or big moves, and they kind of... Oh, there we go. There's the strikes coming in, and we see that they did quite a work on Lemisandros.
Yeah, and also Radim. So basically they use the information tower from B6 that's currently always being captured by Mentos, and then they put the double strike on towards Radim and Lemisandros. That's 800 damage apiece. Total 1600 damage with those strikes, and all of a sudden Hit and Run was on the back foot in regards to damage. Now this has completely flipped around, and this is what I was talking about. In the long run, Hit and Run with the control over 2 points of information is just going to have the upper hand, because once again, kills are even, but I think at this point in time already Hit and Run have dealt more damage, and they will continue doing so, not only with player trades but simply through the arty strikes.
It feels like Conquest is just stuck in the headlights here because they have to do something. They don't control any of the resources, and Hit and Run is just going to chip away at them until they have no HP to play with, and they'll just be rolled over. I see that Danny changed positions, maybe trying to get a better angle there on Monster, trying to get rid of their strike advantage, but they're not doing too many pushes there. There's a 60 TP of Conquest on the other strike at least, so they're getting some resources, but just not enough.
Yeah, at this point in time, it certainly is not enough, because we see the cap getting taken together with the information tower, and Monster has just accumulated the arty strike as well. Sorry, yeah, that was actually, yeah, Monster, and is he using it is the question.
There he goes.
He does put it on towards Radim and Lemisandros once again, connects on both tanks, perfect strike, 800 damage in total, and this will just keep going if Conquest are not able to put a stop to this, which right now they're just not finding the openings, and that is also once again down to Hit and Run controlling those points of information, because realistically, how is Conquest going to find out where Hit and Run actually have their tanks? Well, they need to face check it, and that means losing HP even more than they already have.
Yeah, it seems that their only play now is Danny trying to find a good angle from somewhere. And he's driving around the map trying to find someone to snipe at, but everyone else is just kind of holding ground and getting chipped away by Hit and Run. Really, Hit and Run have nothing to lose. They're just waiting it out, getting all their resources, keep putting the strikes in. Danny went for Bath there. It's nice, I guess, but not very useful for Conquest.
No, I mean, if the tank is dirty, you take it for a wash.
Sure,
I think what Danny is doing. But while all of this is happening, Conquest is losing this round number 2. There is no way around this, and they need to make some magic happen. They need to find an opening, but that opening, it will be, they will have to do it blind, because they are lacking the information right now. They don't know where the tanks from Hit and Run are positioned. Hit and Run every so often are going to get the full information with the spotting tower, and then obviously those menacing strikes are going to come in again. We do see now the spotting tower getting captured once again by Mentos, and this time, interestingly, he doesn't use it. Now he finally does, actually. He didn't immediately use it, and that is obviously something you can do as well. Just keep holding on to that ability, and this way you basically force the opposing team to always be afraid of it being used. You cannot go into any bushes and just sit there, because at any point in time it might just do click, the lights get switched on, and you take 1000 damage.
To be honest, Conquest at this point, if they want to do something blind, they'd have to wait for that radio tower to go off, which it did, and then reorganize and try and push from some angle, and hope that they get it right, and hope that they find a weak spot. Though, of course, I understand that doing that blind is very nerve-wracking, but they're not going to win this way. See Monster there? He's trying to see if he can get a shot off there. The mouse, but no, just the angle's not there, and I think he realized that it's a bit too risky, and to be honest, what's the point? He can just keep taking that strike and chip away at Lemisandros and Radim at the same time.
So I think the thing that Conquest is right now waiting for is for the time to trickle down just that little bit more. Because kills do beat damage, and that means when the timer stops... hold that thought, actually. The push does get called here for the team of Conquest, and they are obviously going to take damage for it, but they do reset Monster in that artillery strike. That means he's not going to be taking that one anymore, and now it is just the brutal brawl. But Hit and Run, they do actually have a lot of tanks here. Yes, Monster can get repushed, and Flawless starting to push over in that batch-up, but God does get found by a lot of guns from Hit and Run, and I think Conquest, they were going for the play at the end of the round to just get a few kills, have more tanks, and win with that rule, but that is completely falling to pieces.
Yes, I think they did what we were talking about just a minute ago, that they tried and picked a spot to assault, to put all their power in and get a few kills and then get back into position and hold the ground, but they picked the wrong spot, and that's not surprising considering they had no information to go on.
Yeah, indeed. They've picked the wrong spot. They've picked the wrong team as well, it seems, as the match cut getting completely bullied in that 60 TP. That was a sandwich, if I've ever seen one, and it had 3 slices of bread.
That was cruel. And Grill, yeah, YOLO is still sitting there. He didn't really get to... Oh, there you go. He did manage to take a hit on Ketsai, but he didn't really have the impact that we were maybe hoping from in this game. Now Danny is retreating. Everyone is closing onto YOLO. There's really nothing that can be done right now. I'm not sure what Danny is now trying to do. Maybe get in a few more shots to feel good. But yeah, this was a shame. They had a chance there, but they picked wrong. And yeah, quite expected what happened.
Yeah, what happened here was that Hit and Run from the get-go just played a super controlled game. They got initially what they wanted, which was one strike and one information tower. And from there on out, you could just see the very experienced team of Hit and Run. They can play super aggressive, sometimes too aggressive, but what they're also very good at is letting the opponent make the mistakes. At that point in time, mistakes by Conquest were inevitable. Because, yeah, what were they supposed to do after not getting those initial positions on the northern part of the map? Well, nothing. And that was what we saw here. Hit and Run, getting the 2-0 on their own map pick, and it played exactly how they well, the first round, maybe not really, but the second round, definitely. It was just one on opening and then playing the patient waiting game. Beautiful.
To be honest, I like this. This was two very different games, right? You had the first one, which was surprising, hard-hitting, then you had that ballet at the end. And then this one, you really saw a game of control, of strategy, of really looking at the big picture and realizing, hey, we can hold on to these points, we'll chip away, we're in control. There's nothing really that can be done against us at this point. And taking those crucial points, playing it calm, and being able to use those resources that are on the map is something that that always makes me quite happy when that happens in Onslaught, because that's another side of Onslaught. Often it's a quick brawl, very, very exciting, but sometimes it's this thinking game, this strategic game.
So, Airfield, the tactical map now going the way of Hit and Run, 2-0 Conquest, almost managing to surprise the Polish juggernaut here in the first round. Now it's going to definitely get switched up. Westfield is, I mean, not only does it have a different theme, it's not desert anymore, it is the lush greens and hills, but also it plays completely differently. There is a big potential for an immediate brawl up at that cap in between the hills. There is also the potential for both teams not going there, and there's the potential for one team going for the brawl and the other one avoiding that. So that is basically the three ways that the map can go, but I think Conquest picked it because they want to immediately surprise and overwhelm Hit and Run, but that is a feat that very few teams have managed to achieve so far.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we'll probably be able to kind of tell what the strategy of each team will be by the tanks they pick at the beginning, if they're going to go for the brawl or if they're going to go for the control. Do you think that we've got a bigger chance of maybe seeing some light tank play on Westfield?
Definitely. Yesterday, I always keep saying yesterday when I mean the previous playday. So 2 days ago, we actually saw a match on Westfield where we did see, for example, RHM against EBR. And the EBR ended up completely winning that engagement. Mentos was styling on Liberty. So definitely the track lights not as strong as they used to be simply because of the 3-second delay to the plane at the start of the game, but they are definitely not completely out of meta. We see a lot of light tanks still getting picked, but of course, I mean, Airfield is a map at which at some point in time there is going to be a close range brawl, and this is of course where the light tanks are not as strong anymore, but Westfield, depending on how you play it, does lend itself towards a light, a cheeky one, or even two.
And do you think that we'll maybe see the Tassak at some point, today at least?
So I would love to, but realistically, the odds are no. So I have this dream in my mind where there is a Tassak and it stops like 5 Juggernaut TDs at once. But I think it's copium on my part. That being said, though, Westfield round number 1 Hit and Run coming in with a Senti AX, double Badger, double Bliska, an EBR, and an RHM, and Conquest also answering with that light tank together with triple Bliskavica. Actually, Bober says hello, a CS63, a Batchat, and a BZ75.
So there we go. So we've got 3 light tanks in this match, not only 2. We are going to be trying to find some spottings there at the beginning. Will they manage to hit them? Will they manage to get the information that they need? Yep, there's Hit and Run got spotted quite a few tanks, 4 of them. Not sure how it ended up on Conquest side, if any at all.
It might be the case that actually the RHM of Ketsai is holding on to the plane right now, and he wants to maybe spot someone that is sitting on some point of interest. We'll have to wait and see about that. First of all, though, Hit and Run, they immediately started committing towards the hills. Oh, Ketsai actually getting spotted out here. This is not good for him at all. He goes down towards 1500, taking 2 shots of damage here, now starting to re-peak, but I think he might have been planed because he's still spotted.
No.
He takes another shot to the face here, and now YOLO is there, and he is there to capitalize big time.
Yep, that was a mistake, and he kept peeking as well there instead of retreating, and YOLO, it looks like he's just going to pick him up there. That was an unfortunate play by Ketsai. What happened there? He was crossing. Yep, there he goes, and he's gone. So they're without one of their light tanks, but Conquest, on the other hand, is losing one of their Blitzkowitzers, so... Oof.
We'll have to see. I mean, Cap is now completely under control by Hit and Run, but they're actually starting to push off of it because Conquest, they have committed themselves a bit too far, but they are just disconnected. Run in the next one on the way to the garage here. He gets completely blown up, and like Hit and Run, yes, they lose the light tank player on the outside, but maybe he was just a sacrifice to the gods of victory, as now Hit and Run start the tsunami over the tanks of Conquest here. And yes, they do lose their light tank on the offside, but everything else is just painted purple as Hit and Run are going to clean sweep Conquest out of match 1 for the day. It's going to be 3-0, Adam.
What a complete purple tsunami that was pretty brutal. Yeah, they lost the light tank, but maybe that was a diversion that even our cameraman fell for, because all the action just happened suddenly on the side of Hit and Run, and they just went through Conquest with absolutely no problem. That was a brutal match by Hit and Run, just showing their supremacy.
Yeah, and it all comes back to how the match opened, right? Hit and Run immediately went with 6 tanks towards the hills and sending 1 tank with the RHM towards the other side. And yeah, it was kind of weird what Ketsai was doing there until it became apparent that, you know, Hit and Run, they wanted like 3 to 4 tanks of Conquest to focus on that RHM, to then just be able to waltz over the remaining tanks that were somehow disconnected, standing in the middle of Westfield in the village, just offering themselves up basically one by one. And you know, focus fire is normally a skill that is very important, but like here it wasn't even needed, because at any point in time, at any given point, there was only 1 Conquest tank to shoot at for the Hit and Run tanks. So yeah, they do completely escalate out of control in this 3rd game here, and that was, except for game number 1, which was kind of iffy for Hit and Run, the rest of it just smooth sailing all around.
Yeah, definitely. I think even just by turning those that Blitzkowitzer there to look at Ketsai, it meant that it was out of the battle for like 15-20 seconds, and that was enough time for Hit and Run to hit and not really run but wallop Conquest into complete submission. So yeah, definitely Hit and Run were the one conquering right now. And they had quite a smooth ride, but now we're up for Solyanka versus Mafia. Now this is the match I was looking forward to the most, because Solyanka has been doing so well, but Mafia is a very good team, so this should really be an exciting matchup.
Yeah, indeed. Solyanka, I think so far, is the positive surprise of the first 3 play days. I mean, obviously, they are undefeated on spot number 1, but Mafia, I mean, they are a very, very good team in their own right. So that'll be a very interesting one to watch out for. That being said and done, I think you're already trying to do it. I'll do the same. We'll both rest our voices for a few minutes. We'll be back after the replays.
Definitely. See you then.
the drama unfolding on Westfield. It's lucky probably reloading HP at this point. He doesn't have any boots remaining, but he gets the shot. And now the Clueless guys are showing.
You can dispraise me and you can condemn me for everything that brings me spark in my life. I was ashamed of my morals and principles, tried to achieve my own goals, choose my path.
We are not monsters, we are different, we live as we play. We are not monsters, we are the best in the game.
That's
Well, hello
such
there.
a cool trailer. Oh, go on, Kai.
No, welcome back to match number 2. It's gonna be a Solyanka against Mafia, and I saw you with the coffee mug there. Well, I have also upgraded. Cheers.
Oh, you've got such a nice mug. Oh, okay, I'll have to get that in the office as well.
Everything
okay, so
tastes better out of the Onslaught mug.
I can't believe. So Solyanka and Mafia, this is a big one, right? Because so far Solyanka has been beating one opponent after the other, but Mafia will now be another big roadblock to total domination. Because Mafia, of course, a very big favorite of the whole series, and there'll be a real test for Solyanka to see if really they have found some magical elixir of absolute domination.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Solyanka so far undefeated in the league, and indeed the team we see on screen right now, they're looking very confident, but we'll have to wait if Mafia is going to be a roadblock or if it's whether it's merely going to be a speed bump is what I wanted to say, because you know those Solyanka players, they're also looking pretty confident, and they have looked more so than Mafia because they haven't dropped a match, which is incredible considering where they're coming from. Mafia before the league would have been favored, but now I think the script has kind of been flipped. My goodness, my English isn't Englishing today.
But still, the community is giving more of its, quite a lot of their votes to Mafia, which I'm quite surprised with, seeing how well Solyanka has been doing so far. I guess Mafia still has that credibility of previous matches, but I don't know, what is it that Solyanka is doing right now that's making them so effective?
So I think the thing that Solyanka is doing right now is, I could try a super deep analysis, but honestly, they're just winning the rounds that matter. And sometimes that's all that it takes. That is the secret potion that they have in their mix of a soup of a team. But yeah, first of all, Ozek here for Mafia. He's been showing up the past 3 play days. Once again, a player on 3.6k DPG. That is, absolutely crazy in Onslaught. Yes, the base HP of the tanks are buffed, but 3.6k is a huge number. Kill death ratio, not as good as the first player we had here. Only 1.1, but I mean, it's above 1.0. So
but that shows me that he's a team player, right? Because he's got the damage, he just doesn't have the kills. So he's putting in the damage that's needed for the team to succeed. He doesn't need to transform them to the kills if it means that the team then takes the kills.
I mean, he's also playing kind of a variety of tanks, but more like the heavier tanks. I mean, Mouse, E4, stuff like this. And he's been matched up here in this asset against a Dreamer. So far, Dreamer played a bit more battles, but realistically, both of them are always there when their team is playing. Win rate so far for Dreamer with Solyanka 64%, which is just down to the fact that Solyanka has been winning the matches more so than Mafia. But the DPG for Dreamer kind of a bit lower KD quite a bit higher though, 2.5. That is absolutely crazy. And what's even more surprising, Dreamer in 14 battles so far has played 9 different tanks. So that player is versatile.
Yeah, definitely what I just wanted to say. Yeah, that's a huge amount of tanks. I believe I can't even play well in 3 different tanks, let alone 9 on such a high level. That's bonkers.
So both of them obviously maining a bit more of the heavy tanks, but yeah, first of all, the maps that we're gonna see. So we're gonna start off on Airfield once again. Mafia choosing the, kind of more tactical map, the slower map, tactical approaches, although we have seen the action absolutely escalate on Airfield. We're going to go in towards Pilson, and Pilson has been a chaotic mix so far. So both of those teams that usually go into Pilson, they have a pretty clear idea in the head as to what they want to do, but all of those plans that you have in war and in battle, they only last until you meet the enemy.
Yeah, but it seems so that the theme now is being that the experienced teams, the favorites, are taking Airfield, the slower, the more tactical map, while their challengers are taking more volatile maps.
And I think that is fair, right? Because the more experienced teams, they want to minimize the risk of getting surprised, whereas it's the kind of underdogs or newer teams, because I don't know at this point in time if I really want to call Solyanka underdogs anymore. But the newer teams, they kind of want to get the jump on towards the established, known entities, so to speak.
Yeah, they want to get into situations that these experienced teams aren't practicing every day. Right, because on Airfield, you've got a pretty good idea of what positions you're taking, what tactics you're taking. But Pilsen is one of those maps where it's a powder keg. It's those quick thinking reactions that will give you the day.
Well, let's see here. We're going to kick it off on Airfield, and both you and I... both you and Ducky, actually.
Yeah.
I see opposition emerging against my pick. Have gone with Solyanka victory. Both Ducky and I, however, are saying it's going to tiebreaker. There is no clear favorite in this matchup on day 4 of the playdays here. Meanwhile, you're saying Solyanka have looked good so far, 3-1 for them.
I think so. I think Solyanka has been doing so well. I think they're onto something, and I believe that they're going to take it. They're going to take Mafia by surprise. But so, do you really think that Mafia is going to prevail over Solyanka, that has emerged to be quite a juggernaut?
I mean, the fact that we as the on-stream talents are split in our prediction tells us everything we need to know already, is that it is, anyone's guess really who's going to emerge victorious, because usually when there's favorite against underdog, all of us are going with one team. This is not the case here. Now, however, Solyanka, I mean, tanks are still changing because it's Onslaught and they want to hide the setups in the training room, obviously, but I think they've settled now. Solyanka going with a bit of everything, not a single tank twice. 62p mouse Batshare Bliskowitz, a Grille, T124, and the EBR 105.
It seems like they have some kind of plan going into Airfield here. But Mafia is taking more of a... I wouldn't say it's a conservative pick, but they do have the mouse. They've got a 60 TP, 2 bat chats for that damage output, 1 Bliskowitz and 2 E4s, but no light tank there.
No light tank. That being said, the light tank on the Solyanka lineup is a wheeled light tank. That means he doesn't get the plane at the start, but it will be very interesting to see where the EBR gets committed. And indeed, Vladislav is going over towards that spotting tower once again. He does manage to outspot Kubash in that bat chat, chooses not to shoot though, doesn't want to reveal his position, and YOLO takes a shot of damage in that Bliskowitz for going towards the balcony. So Solyanka, I think they're trying to go for what Hit and Run did in their rounds against Conquest. They're trying to establish the North control, just get 2 points of information and get better crossfire, which so far has been working out because both Conrad and Kubash, those Batchats on the team of Mafia, have taken damage, and those Batchats definitely are the playmakers here.
Yeah, it seems that Solyanka managed to get nicely into position and take some shots on Mafia in the process. Mafia is, it's gathering for a bit of a push here against Trash Panda, who's been left alone there by his teammates, but the E4 is coming in to help, and Mouse is now taking some shots from the grill. Oh, and a nice strike there on 3 tanks. What a shot. Well done.
Yeah, 1200 damage coming in from the strike, together with the gorilla activated ability was able to do 900. That being said though, Trash Panda taking the second one from an E4, that's 1500 combined, and I think Solyanka, they are stopping this push by Mafia dead in its tracks. That was triple tank by Mafia invested in towards this push, and all of them got bloody noses.
And they really didn't get too much out of it either. They did put a few shots in, but not enough to make that push worthwhile. The EBR, on the other hand, is still getting quite nice angles there, hasn't got damage at all, and it's going to take another information asset there. The 60 TP Dreamer is sitting on a strike, soon we'll get another. Yeah, I think we're seeing a bit of a repeat of what we saw earlier between Hit and Run and Conquest, right?
I mean, to be honest, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that is the approach that Solyanka is going here. They once again have a double point of interest against one. And yes, the strikes are even 1-to-1, but the fact that Dreamer with that 60 TP was able to get a triple strike out against those bunched up, clumped up tanks from Mafia, that was a huge part of why Solyanka here right now is up so much in HP. Now, Mafia are triple capping, and that is because the mouse of Trash Panda had to back up a little bit, because obviously even a mouse cannot sustain that kind of firepower, as Admiral Akbar would say.
I see that Mafia chose to reset Dreamer's attempt to get their strike, but it's not going to stop him. And while Mafia and Solyanka both have a strike apiece, Solyanka has the visibility, so they know where they are firing at. Mafia can only pretty much target Dreamer because they know there's one person there, but other than that, they're shooting blind.
Indeed, and the other thing that's problematic for Mafia is not only is Vladislav in that EBR on the spotting tower, he is also in the side of everyone and he cannot get pushed, right? Because there is so much open ground that the Mafia tanks would have to cover to get through that EBR that the rest of the Solyanka tanks would just tear anyone to pieces that even attempts of going there. Now, Marcel there, he was activating the group heal ability. He was trying to give a bit of HP back towards his E4s. He succeeded, but that still means that the damage itself was done before, and this is right now what puts Solyanka up in this game, not only in the total HP that both teams have, but remember, once again, if the timer runs out, then Solyanka would be coming out on top, and Kitsunk in that Gorilla, 1000 damage plus. That is once again the ability coming in clutch as Barkis tries trading it out with Dreamer here, but he takes a second one by Shelby Walk. All of a sudden, the trade here for Barkis not looking so good anymore. Depressed coming in with that Bliskavitsa, and YOLO is only barely able to save Marcel in the mouse. Repush coming out from Solyanka on towards Barkis. He is desperately trying to stay alive. Not going to happen, and Solyanka are going to walk away with a kill here from this situation. Yes, they're starting to trade out the HP, but that was a double kill coming in from Dreamer with the strike.
This is a weird push by Mafia, to be honest. They had no advantage there in that position, and they just went for it anyway, and they got punished for it. That grill there, they have to know the grill is there, where else it would be, and it's just taking such huge shots on those tanks. It definitely wasn't worth it. How much HP they lost in that one engagement? Around 9,000 HP, more than half of their total HP pool. That was a misplay.
That indeed was a misplay, and now in comes a play here actually by Vikshare in that bat chat. He managed to boost up the ramp. Beautiful driving by him, and now Profuse is going to chase him and chase him off, but little is it going to change about the outcome of the game, because at this point in time, Solyanka absolutely in the driver's seat of the round. 7 tanks versus a mere 2 on the team of Mafia. Profuse getting clipped out by Vikshare. Only Conrad remaining, and probably wondering where it all went wrong. Well, Solyanka, they had just the control over the northern part of the map, and then they found the better engagement with the information. Taking 1000 apiece by the Gorilla every time you peek doesn't help either.
That was so satisfying. What an absolutely confident game by Solyanka. They were in absolute control. And Mafia, as I told you, they're caught off guard. Solyanka has something going. It's amazing. That was such a nice game of control, of knowing when to push, what to do. Then Mafia made that, well, to be honest, a bit of a weird push. They had to know that Solyanka know that they're there and that they're coming, and they just went for it and got so much damage in return. It's, yeah, not a single kill on the side of Mafia. That's brutal.
Yeah, no. I mean, 7-0 the scoreline here at the end of the round, and that just means that something went horribly wrong for the team of Mafia, or something went incredibly right for the team of Solyanka here. That was just a complete counter in the tactics department, with Solyanka absolutely dominating, and we can see even that EBR, normally the EBR, bad DPM, etc., but like he was able to continuously get those shots of damage off against the bad shots, very, very vulnerable, of course, against the sides of some other tanks, so even he was finding impact, which just attends to the fact that Solyanka, they were just doing everything right.
Yeah, especially on Airfield, I seem to see that taking those points, taking those resources is so vital, especially if you're not planning a big push at the beginning. So taking an EBR in that situation makes sense, because Mafia really didn't have an answer for that first ride for the resources. And once the EBR was there, and with the grill covering him, there was really nothing they could do. They couldn't push him out of there. It was suicide. So yeah, that was pretty spectacular.
Now, though, the sides are going to get switched, and this is maybe where Mafia is going to go back in towards the driver's seat of the match, because realistically, so far, that was a very, very good and controlled round by Solyanka, and that is kind of, you know, the map pick and ban, like the concept for the match that Mafia had, coming back to bite them in the backside a little bit, because they were thinking that, or probably assuming, but so far not rightfully so, of course, they were assuming that they could just beat Solyanka on slow play, on tactics, on individual trades, and they got outplayed completely in every single regard in round number one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was thinking as well. This was their pick, this was their map, and they just got totally outplayed. I don't want to throw like dirt on Mafia, but
bring it.
7-0, like, well, that's not a result you want on a map that you picked yourself. Also, the other thing I'm very impressed by is by the choice of tanks by Solyanka, because it was so obvious that every tank had a purpose, every tank had a role, and you told me before we started the stream today that it's difficult to play these kind of choices, because then every tank has to do precisely what they're there to do, and there's no space for error, but Solyanka just pulled it off perfectly.
Exactly. Let's see if they're able to repeat that and thus put themselves on match point, though, on the map pick of Mafia, that is. 6 CTP times 2 coming out from Solyanka together with a Mouse, a Bliskovica, and then the triple bat shot. Never mind, I was getting concerned for Solyanka. They are switching it off with a double bat shot. One of them switching towards an E4 for Mafia. I mean, double bat shot as well, so there must be some interesting interactions going on in the coming battle. Bliskovica as well, Mouse as well, and essentially a 6 CTP being traded for an E4.
Yeah, so now it seems that Solyanka may be going for more of an aggressive play, where before they had a very varied team. Now they have 2 big damage dealers. They've got more of a standard... Oh, okay. Go ahead. You seem to be umming and ahhing there. Something interesting is happening.
I mean, yeah. I thought something very interesting was going to happen, and all the batches were directly going to book it towards the information tower, but so far only Konrad and Kubash, the 2 tanks for Mafia, doing that. Konrad opting to go safe here. Kubash going through. He's even continuing on, so he's going to get the... Oh, he's going to get the point of information, but at what cost? Well, almost everything going down below 900 HP. Was that worth it? I have my doubts.
Well, we'll see. But he is covered there by Conrad, and it may be that he'll manage to hold out there for enough time to make those resources count. But with this amount of HP left, they have to make their move a bit quicker than they did last time, because they can't really count on Kubash managing to survive there for too long.
Well, let's see. YOLO now also getting pulled into the fray here for the team of Mafia, and all of a sudden Trash Panda finding himself out-traded in that mouse. Already down 1k HP. I think that was Marcel with a number on towards that mouse of Trash Panda, as Depressed with a swing and a miss against the unspotted Batchat of Conrad, and Kubash is spotted in that Batchat, but for the time being he seems to be able to stay safe. His job right now is staying alive and collecting that point of information once in a while. Meanwhile, Profuse down in the cap here. He still hasn't used the artillery strike, so they're saving that one up for when they need it. They could obviously strike Vladislav, for example, but right now Vladislav is so healthy that he could survive that and still push Kubash.
Seems that they're going for a bit of a push there, and Profuse, Barkis, Ojek are all going against Depressed. Marcel there blocking Trash Panda from helping out Depressed, but they did manage to get 2 hits in. Not bad, not bad. Though one thing that I did notice, the second strike point is not being taken by anyone, so all the resources now are on the side of Solyanka, and they took the first kill there as well. So 2 batches are now holding the information resource, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Yeah, exactly. Conrad was just waiting until all of the guns of Solyanka were distracted, and then he moved up towards where Kubash was staying, and he obviously, Conrad that is, was still very healthy, so he started trading it out against the Batchat of Vladislav, who at that point was pretty helpless against 2 guns there in the north. And this means, as the dust settles, that not only have Mafia, not only do they have 1 tank more on the field, they also have more HP. They still have that crucial asset of the double Batchat alive. I don't think they can leave unspotted right now, but they don't really need to at this moment in time, because once again it is the double point of interest that's being taken. Big Share there trying to blind the tanks that must still be in position, but yeah, they're playing it safe. They're not really exposing themselves, as the spotting tower does get used for Mafia. So once again, full information on all the remaining 6 tanks by Solyanka here. All information available for Mafia, and I think they are now settling down a little bit, and now they have the kill more, which means currently they're winning, and they want to let Solyanka do the mistakes.
Oh, definitely. It seems that Solyanka is now realizing that they don't really have anything on their side, so they're going for that, at least that 1 strike, but Mafia is covering it with a Bliskovica.
Katsankia pushing up though through that middle of the map, gets spotted out by YOLO. YOLO opting against the shot here, but this is information actually also for Solyanka, because they know that their Bliska got spotted here, so they probably assume the balcony is still taken by YOLO. But yeah, Solyanka, they need to make something happen.
Yeah, we can see the Batchat there trying to get in there, seeing if there's anything that could be dangerous for it to cross onto that point of resource. But while it's doing that, Mafia is just taking more and more resources for themselves and using them to good use. So the roles here have reversed, and Solyanka is getting a taste of their own medicine.
Right now it seems to be like that, although Solyanka, they do rightfully so assume that the 2 Mafia Batchats are still stuck in that B5, B6 position. And this means that the Batchat of Vikshare currently has completely free reign over the rest of the map. We can see he's already in F0. Yeah, he's just waiting to get a jump on anyone. Well, YOLO probably not the tank he would like it on, because realistically, the Bliskovica is just going to activate the shield ability, and the first shot actually goes into the ground. YOLO missing as well. The second shot not connecting here. Vikshare, that is not the engagement that he wanted. Getting a third shot here into the Bliska, but now the Bliska will start chasing, and now Solyanka, they know that they're losing the eastern part of the map, and now this means that they're pushing in the middle. Actually, they have pulled one of their Bliskovicas towards the east as well. This means that Mafia are now fighting with more tanks here around that cap, and Shelby Walk getting put down towards 567. That is absolutely brutal, and I think out of Mafia in that cap, they're not done.
No, not at all. Solyanka is now taking YOLO out quite nicely, but I think Mafia just realised that their batchers are no longer trapped and they're going in for the kill to support their teammates there in the middle. Can Solyanka get their tanks to the middle as well? Because that's where it's happening. They're losing HP, they're losing quite a lot of HP there, and they lost another tank. Yeah, it seems that Mafia is now in the driver's seat.
Indeed, Mafia here, as soon as they recognized that 2 tanks from Solyanka were in that 9-0 line to deal with that Blitzkowitz, this is then that Mafia knew, hey, we have the absolute and complete overmatch near the cap. Let's just push over them. Let's finish this battle, and let's actually make it a match, because for the first time today, both teams have a point.
Oh yes, it's going to be 1-1. Yeah, this is... I knew this would be definitely a exciting matchup, and Mafia now shown that they can do the same as Solyanka, outplay their opponents strategically, tactically, and even in those small combats that they just, they dominated in this match. It was a interesting one, that's for sure. I thought that Solyanka had something going there when they were going in there with a bat chat around the whole map. But YOLO predicted that, and he was able to stop that play from happening and creating mayhem in the backside of Mafia.
So I think the game-winning play here definitely was happening in that north, when basically the first kill of the game happened and the double batchat of Mafia was getting the jump on towards the singular batchat of, I believe it was Vladislav. As soon as your team loses the northern part of the map like that, this means that in the long term your team is going to lose, and so if you don't in the next few seconds of the game immediately get something going for yourself, then you're fighting an uphill battle, and that's what we saw. Now here the team of Mafia dropping 1 tank, but I think YOLO, from his perspective, he died for a good cause, because he was able to take the attention of 2 enemy tanks while the third one was dead already. So the rest of his team was fighting 6v4, and the Mafia players don't lose those.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of like with hit and run against Conquest on Westfield, that it was a calculated loss. It needed to happen, and in the end, it then won the game for Mafia, because they sent that tank there with a clear purpose, and it done its job and won them the game. But now we're off to Pilson, so this is a Solyanka pick, and one that we were discussing is going to bring a bit of chaos into today's match.
I mean, we always have to be careful with those predictions. Whenever we say something, probability is it's not going to happen because of the caster curse. But yeah, I think Pilson is going to be a lot faster, possibly a lot more chaotic, hopefully so, than Airfield, because Pilson is a map where, the points of interest are located mostly around a mirror line in the middle of the map. So both of the teams need to be very aggressive from the get-go to secure those, because if you don't do that, then the enemy team is just going to beat you over time, 10 out of 10 times. So here we will see both of those teams being very aggressive. The question in everyone's mind is, of course, are they going to go for the same points on the map, or are they going to, is one of the teams even going for the quick cap play? We've seen that having wonderful success in the past, but yeah, both of those teams will be looking for the jump on towards each other. It's just the question who is going to jump higher, right?
That's for sure. And now that it's 1-1, it's all to play for. I think both teams have shown that this is definitely in their grasp, that they're able to win over the other team. But I think also Solyanka got a good reminder that that Mafia isn't a team to mess with, and they have to be careful with their plays and really double down and concentrate on this game, because especially on Pilsen, it'll be about quick decisions, about quick situations, and being able to use those situations to your advantage.
Well, let's see what's going to happen. 1-1, all in a best of 5 means we're effectively down towards a best of 3. So whichever team wins here is going to be on match point. Solyanka is going to be trying to try and achieve that on their own map pick with a 60 TP, a mouse, double Blitzkowitzer, double V4, and Shelby Walk bringing the Rheinmetall.
And Mafia is also taking the Rheinmetall, but they're also taking two 268/4s, an E3, three objects. Oh, jeez, that's a lot. And a Batchat and a 60 TP. They're going to be lower on HP, though, if I'm not entirely wrong, because with Solyanka's pick of mouse, that will give them quite the advantage when it comes to HP.
You'd assume that's the case. If you're trading a mouse against a Batchat, then Solyanka is going to have more HP. That is the case substantially, actually 2,000 up for Solyanka. But obviously that Batchat in its clip there are basically 2,000 damage. So if he's able to do one of those without getting hit in return, then that should equalize it already. But I think what we are seeing now is Solyanka being very orientated towards Western Strike plus Cap. Meanwhile, Mafia, they're looking for the open ground here. The humps of coal that are in the east, they are what Mafia have set their sights on. But let's see if they've been naughty boys or if they are going to reward themselves with a round win for it as they take the information tower, use it immediately. Full info available for Mafia, but is it going to save them? I don't know. Double Cap already started. Mafia, they do have the strike for resets though.
Yes, and Solyanka there did have the Rheinmetall to try and spot some of these tanks taking the coal piles, but didn't really amount to much, and now they're moving more to the west with the 60 TP covering its retreat. It seems that Solyanka is really trying to group everyone. Oh my, they're nearly capping. They only have 7 seconds left, but Ojek is going in there for the decap. Let's see if he manages to do that, or if he gets destroyed by the big huddle of Solyanka tanks.
I mean, the cap does get halted. At what price is the question? Because now Solyanka is starting to come in. Ozek here already down towards 1,300 damage. He is the first focus. Yes, the damage reduction for damage taken does come in clutch for him. So he's going to stay alive for at 105 HP at that moment. But he is still a one-shot regardless. Cap has been completely reset. But this now means the first kill is coming through for Solyanka. We're also up in HP, but not up in guns anymore. A counter kill does come through here, and Mafia, they do stabilize. They do manage to get the eastern part of the map under control, but still they need to come in as Shelby Walk does find YOLO in that Rheinmetall, but does it not get a shot of damage? Actually, the counter push is starting to come in once again by Solyanka. It is a mouse and a Bliska pushing on towards Conrad. Once again, damage reduction and also crossfire. Barkis, the smiling guy in that situation, he gets 3 shots as Vikshare in the Bliskowitzer gets absolutely dropped.
Yeah, while at the beginning there, they were managing to funnel Mafia into the cap point and taking advantage of that. Now they're being surrounded and crossfire from all sides. And this is precisely what we would expect on Pilson, of the situation changing in a moment's notice. And yeah, Mafia managed to use that to their advantage. They managed to outmaneuver Solyanka in this case.
And now here, only 3 tanks remaining for Solyanka as Kitsank and Marcella in a 1v1. Vladislav and Barkis, the same thing for them. Bounce coming out for Barkis, but I think at this point in time, the HP for Mafia, they are just too far up for Solyanka to make it back into the match. 2 shots. Make that 1 as Shelby Walk gets dropped towards 1 shot as well. He's Amorak 2 and that RHM. That's not going to make things easier. And now from the back lines comes Sparkis with a steel chair, and he hits Shelby Walk back in towards the garage. He goes. Marcel and Getsunk still trading it out here. That is a 1v1, and probably all the players are saying respect the 1v1, but the 60 TP does not do so. So this one goes Mafia's way. From being down 1-0, Mafia make a comeback all of a sudden on match point.
Well, my prediction just went out of the window, that's for sure. But now it's really if your prediction was correct, because it seems that Mafia has the upper hand on a map that Solyanka have picked.
Well, we have kind of this theme going currently in the OLS where teams that pick a map actually end up losing at 2-0. No one knows why that is. It's sometimes, like, more often than not, it actually does happen, which is kind of weird because you would assume teams pick maps that they like and they're good at. And they probably think so as well, but more often than not, the reverse is true. But yeah, first of all, let's take a look at the damage numbers, and the spread here for Mafia is simply better. They were able to get more tanks into the fight effectively. As we can see here, the only tank below 2k damage is actually Orzek. But, you know, realistically, he's not going to care because he was able to get those blocks on the cap. He was just standing there as a unit, tanking the damage with the reduction coming in, and Solyanka weren't able to kill him quickly, and that gave the team of Mafia the time to bring in their tanks in the position that in the positions that they needed to be.
Yes, I think maybe with the map picking that you've mentioned earlier, I think it might be the case that Solyanka went in with a clear plan for Pilson. But once that plan falls apart, it becomes very difficult to regroup and adapt to a new situation. And Solyanka obviously had a good plan of going for the cap, funneling Mafia into that small space and overpowering them, and it worked for a while, but Mafia then managed to outmaneuver them and get those angles, and then it just fell apart for Solyanka. So maybe it is that they're going in too committed to their plan for when they pick the map, and then it falls apart and they just can't adapt quick enough.
I mean, Pilson is one of those maps where it can spiral out of control super quickly because, like, this production facility in the middle of the map, it has so many openings and so many, like, doors in it and so many holes in the sides of the walls that, realistically, the amount of angles that you have to cover when you push in is just absolutely overwhelming. So if the opposing tanks are not out of position, then you have a very hard time counter pushing into that. When the enemy tanks are set up, you're pushing into a crossfire, and so the effective armor on your tanks is, well, not very effective anymore after all if you show them your sides, and that is just where the opponents then get to pick and choose, well, who do we focus first? And it's like a shooting gallery, and that is just what we saw. Solyanka felt like they were pressured in towards this repush in towards the production facility, and Mafia, they were like, all right, you're doing that, well, we are all here, pew pew pew.
Yeah, they were close though, Solyanka. They were like 7 seconds out of capping, but as long as the other team is close enough, they can always go in there, sacrifice maybe a tank, but by that time, the rest of the team will be able to get into position and take those angles and start resetting that cap and destroying the other team indefinitely. So, yeah. Wasn't surprising in the end. So Solyanka now is going with 60 TPs, a mouse, an Object 430U, Object 268/4, and E4 with a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. That was a very good accent by me, wasn't it, Kai?
Let's see how I pronounce it. I would say YOLO is playing the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. The Orzek coming out with the E3. We have triple V4 coming out for Mafia, actually, together with Kubash in the bat chat, and a Profuse playing that 60 TP. So Solyanka once again quite a bit heavier, this time actually 3k HP advantage to start the game off with, and YOLO hits 5 out of 7 tanks, a perfect 5 out of 7 coming out from YOLO, and so only 2 tanks remaining unspotted for Solyanka here at this point in time, but it is quite important tanks. The V4, well, maybe expected, but the 430U, that is the funny button tank that can just completely wreck opponents with the DPM, as Conrad with a good shot doing a number on Big Share. So the first trades do go in favor of Mafia here once again, and they even secure the artillery strike in the middle of the map.
No one, though, has managed to get the information one yet, and the other artillery strike is still out of grasp for Mafia, but they are getting a trio of tanks in position there to maybe push onto that artillery strike, while Solyanka is getting into position to maybe get some damage in while they're trying to do that, but it has gone into bit of a stalemate. No, Mafia's going in, and they are capping that artillery strike.
Yes, indeed. Mafia are going to secure the second artillery strike here at the start of the game, together with the fact that Vladislav and Vikshare actually have taken damage. This means that Mafia do have the much better opening towards the second round of Pilson on the Mafia match point.
Yeah,
We do now see Marcel and Conrad, both of them, with the artillery strike, should they need it. So that is very, very nice. And also the fact that Solyanka are the only ones to have taken damage means that it is now up to Solyanka to actually do something. Mafia on the columns once again starting to back out with those V4s, though they're like, all right, we took a few Ws. Let's, now chill back and let Solyanka do the mistakes.
That's the thing. I'm a bit surprised by Solyanka's approach here because they are now in match game. They've got everything to lose, and I was expecting more of a radical approach, but instead they let Mafia take two vital strikes, and they let them take, well, not the information yet, but they're about to let them take another strike. Panzwagen, very good by me, is now going in for the information point as well. He's not staying there, he's just trying out the waters if he'll be maybe able to get it. But yeah, Solyanka's not really doing anything.
Well, first of all, the V4 that's in the middle of the map, the strike had recharged, so he basically had to put one down, so he did it on towards the safe damage, which is the 60 TP of Dreamer that was spotted. Now he has taken the strike again, so once again, 2 strikes available for the team of Mafia, but slowly and surely, Solyanka is actually encroaching on that 0 line here, and they are starting to deal damage. Kitsunk taking the double bounce to the face, so he's going to be happy about this trade. Does start to re-peak here, and all of a sudden, Mafia caught in between a rock and a hard place, because where are they supposed to go from here? They're just being crossfired. Kitsunk now being pulled in that V4 from the 0 line. Once again, the strike going down on towards Dreamer. It's gonna hit 400 damage, of course, and Mafia also need to be careful in the northeast of the map because the 430U has arrived. X marks the spot. Trash Panda with that 430U is going to take a lot of damage from the Batchat, but he obviously is going to retaliate as Pravus goes down towards one shot. No one there to pick him up, however, as Kubash starting to peek here, and all of a sudden it's the RHM that needs to shield the 430U. Not something you see every day, but well done by Shelby Walk, who now starts chasing YOLO.
Yes, while I was saying that Solyanka aren't doing anything, I just noticed that they are actually sneaking down there. But Kubash did manage to pick Yola, and now he's got Shelby in the crossfire. That's a bit unfortunate. That's a shame, because that was a good situation there for Solyanka, but they're managing to absolutely destroy Marcel here from all sides. That's not a nice experience for Marcel. He is trying to maneuver out of there, hoping that Yola and Kubash will come and help him, but it's too late. Yeah, Solyanka managed to secure the center there. Very well done by them.
Indeed, Solyanka finding exactly what they need here so far, at least in the round, because it isn't over, because Ozek is still sitting on 3k HP, and Conrad just managed to shut down Vladislav. So once again, 4v4 situation, and finally Ozek has arrived in the game with that full HP 3. He doesn't really mind taking some damage actually right now, if that means his team doesn't take any more. Dreamer going down towards one shot. Kubash there with a good juke, able to avoid it. Dreamer on a one shot, and actually the plane does come down. He is going to secure the information on towards Viksha, and Dreamer moving forward, but YOLO gets pushed out by Kitsunk. Viksha with the pickup, but Kubash is able to return the favor. So now we're left with a 3v3 situation, and the V4 of Conrad is sitting in that middle of the map. He just got reset while trying to take the cap, but it was only a shot in towards the tracks, which means at some point in time, once again, this cap in the middle of the map, or sorry, the artist strike should be coming in. Let's see, the V4 trying to stay safe right now, and Kubash is building distance. He's trying to be sneaky in that Batchat, and he needs to be, because his team right now is behind in HP, but actually up in damage.
Key, I am sitting on the complete edge of my seat. I can't breathe. It's so exciting. This is an incredible situation. I think Solyanka then got in a bit of the same situation that they forced Mafia in, that they got swarmed there in the middle of the coal field, and now Ozek is definitely using the confidence that he can have with that many HP, nearly as much as HP as the rest of Solyanka's team, to just take a few risks and try and take some shots out. And Solyanka is being backed into a corner a bit from a situation that I thought that they were quite dominant in.
Well, let's see. Ozek, he is in that E3, and that is a lot of frontal firepower, obviously, but Viksha now is on the flank, and this might be problematic here. Actually, the strike does go down on towards the press. This is a possible one-shot for the E3. Let's see if Ozek connects. He does! So all of a sudden, it is 3 versus 2 here. Mafia with the upper hand at the moment, and they still do have a bad shot. Kubash, he is going to be a lurking threat. That being said, though, Katsunk is now starting to push on Conrad, and this actually might come as a nasty surprise here for Conrad, who does start to drive over. But Katsunk with the pickup here. Ozek does get a good shot in towards Viksha, and him being the E3, he should actually have the reload. So Ozek is starting to be the playmaker here. A strike comes down, puts Ozek down towards 1200, but is it going to remedy the situation, Adam? I don't think so. Ozek doesn't miss those any day of the week. And the E3 gets another kill. Kubash from the back lines, still with the potential to backstab Katsunk, actually, who is now with that 1v2 clutcher kick.
I think Katsunk knows that he has to make a play quickly before the Batchat manages to reposition, because it's quite far away, and he's going to try and take Ozek down in a duel, but he got tracked and got a big chunk of his health taken away from him. Is Ozek now down to one shot as well?
No, he isn't. That 650 HP alpha from the V4 would need an incredible high roll, but first the E3 does reload, and 375 APCR pen is enough for just about anything in the game, especially a V4 at that kind of range. So Ozek there, being the MVP for his team, puts Mafia up 3-1. Solyanka with the first loss in the OLS.
What an absolutely epic game that was. So many different turnarounds, so many different points of diversion. We could have had a completely different reality here of Solyanka managing to get up to 2-2, but no. Mafia managed to hold on to it, and Ozek definitely did his part of the work, because he completely disrupted Solyanka's plan there, coming in from the side, and with the big chunk of his HP just managing to protect his team and managing to give them a chance to reposition and get back into the game, and it worked wonderfully. And now Mafia has a win, Solyanka has a loss. Again, the whole series is up for grabs.
Indeed, and we are now actually at exactly the halfway point in the OLS. I just noticed, because we are, sorry, not of the OLS itself, of phase 1, because we are in the middle of playday 4 out of 7, 2 out of 4 matches done for the day, and we do see Ozek, he had a absolute cracker of a game for himself. Every single shot that he hit, he penetrated. 11 out of 11, 7.3k damage. That is a crazy amount here. Not so good for the team captain, not so good Profuse, but he's probably not going to care, because at the end of the day is what matters is that Mafia have managed to take down a team that so far no one was able to best. So Solyanka with their first loss of a match in the OLS, and Mafia, I mean, they were down 0-1, but all of a sudden pedal to the metal and smooth sailing for, well, not smooth sailing here in the last round, but it was the other two ones. They were very, very good, very controlled by Mafia, and Solyanka, they do show that they can be beaten, which might be exploited by other teams in the coming days. But first of all, the next match that we are setting our eyes on, Adam, is Storm against W.
Yes, and W has been doing quite well for themselves so far in the series, which I'm happy to see. So this could be also a very interesting matchup. But right now, they're going to be fighting for the honor of being the 4th team that's going to be 3-1. Because right now, we've got Hit and Run, Solyanka, and Mafia all having 3 victories and 1 loss. So let's see who joins them in that club.
Indeed, we'll do that right after some replays, because we'll need some minutes to rest our voices. Be right back.
Yeah.
What? What's happened? You.
Let's move out.
Ready to fire.
Kaboom! Let's destroy this lunatic.
He's back.
So, Keyhand, who are you picking as your commander in Waffenträger?
Well, I think next time Ducky is on the stream and I haven't picked him, he's going to crucify me. So my choice is rather obvious. That being said, I'm not gonna judge you for picking any of those because all of them are, to be honest, great. But yeah, I am quite a little biased because back in my day when I was actually playing competitive, I was also playing with Ducky as my commander, quite literally, in Clan Wars. So yeah, I'm gonna be picking Ducky. But yeah, who are you picking actually between Storm and W is the question.
I think I'll go with Quickie Baby. Since we're great friends now. He schooled me very well at Tankfest, teaching me how to actually play the game well. So yeah, I'm now quite an expert. Been taught by Quickie Baby himself. But let's go back to OLS. So we have a very interesting matchup right now. We have Storm and W has been doing quite well for themselves. They even managed to win against Cashback, which was quite a big upset. Though they did lose against Mafia, but though by seeing how they're playing right now, Mafia, that's not a surprise.
I mean, to be honest, the OLS really is proving to be a bloodbath currently in those top 6 spots. It seems like on any given day, it depends like how the teams are feeling. Anyone can beat anyone right now. However, that Storm team is definitely one to look out for, being the first EU seed for China for the WCI. They did take everyone by surprise in the Onslaught Legends Cup number 3, where they managed to take victory. And now they have to take it up with a team that has been a little spotty, I think. W. They have had good matches. They have had bad matches. Which one's it gonna be today? No one knows yet. I think a key player, pun not intended, to watch out here for is going to be Got You Baby, because he is the person right now with the highest DPG. I think we'll touch on that one a little bit later. First of all, community predictions actually see W in front.
Yeah, that's quite a surprising result. 57% for W, but it's very close. So it's evident that these two teams are very well matched. So we're definitely going to see some very interesting matches right up ahead. Also, though, I'd want to give a shout out to Lukin, my countryman at Storm, and I do expect him to be playing the lights today, right?
I mean, so far that's been his trademark, and he has absolutely excelled in light tanks. That is why that is a huge part of what made Storm so successful. Now, I touched on it already. Got You Baby. KD of 2.0, pretty good. Pen rate 82%, pretty good. Has been playing Centurion, Action X, and Batchat mostly, but the standout stat here is 4,680 DPG so far in OLS. That dude is smurfing on the highest level of gameplay possible. He's like 900 or 1,000 DPG higher than anyone, and he hasn't even gotten a rigging ban for it.
I don't understand. Is the rest of the team just kind of letting him get all the damage? Because that's incredible. Like, having 1,000 more average damage than the next person in OLS, that's quite an achievement.
It is absolutely crazy. I would expect his DPG from this point on to go down, because realistically that is not something you should be able to keep up, but maybe he'll prove me wrong.
Yeah,
and
let's
on
see.
the other side of the scoreboard, I mean, Yuzek looks like a Chad, and he's been playing like one. 3.6, that is a lot less DPG than Got You Baby, but that's just because Got You Baby is playing out of his goddamn mind.
Yeah,
it's
that's
absolutely
true.
crazy.
It's unfair to even compare. Like 3.5 is amazing as well. But yeah, Got You Baby is just out of this world. But Yuzek is going to be continuing to play Bliskovica and the T11 OE3. So let's see if he'll keep picking those tanks in today's matchups. And we're starting with Westfield. So Westfield we've already seen today, and that was quite an interesting match. How do you expect Storm and W to perform on Westfield?
So that's going to be an interesting question. First of all, because before Tuesday, Westfield was considered to be Storm's backyard. They had been playing absolutely flawlessly on Westfield in OLC number 3. However, and that is that is written in all caps, they did lose 2-0 last Tuesday on Westfield, which was supposed to be the map that they take 10 times out of 10. Now they're picking it themselves, which means they probably identified some of the problems that they did, and they are willing to fix them, to probably even to signal to the other teams like, yo, we know that we lost on Westfield 2-0 on Tuesday, but, you know, Westfield, that is still our backyard. Yes, some puppy took a crap in it, but we managed to clean that up.
Well, let's hope that they're just not trying to prove themselves here on Westfield. The other map will be Pilson, which again is an interesting choice by W. Again, it might be just the need for chaos against a more experienced opponent. But now let's focus on Westfield then. We do have predictions coming in. Key, you're going with 3-2 in Storm's favor. Daki 2-3 in W's favor. And I'm, again, confident that Storm will take it with 3-1. Because, as you might remember, I was the only one that has predicted their big triumph in our last stream that I was part of.
I mean, you know what they say about a broken clock, Adam, right? Anyway,
right.
though, once again... I mean, the predictions being split, this just, once again, is testament to the fact that it is really anyone's guess who's going to take it, and that is part of what makes the suspense here, because no team now has been undefeated. Everyone can take rounds and even matches off of everyone. That's going to be extremely exciting to watch out for, and judging by the lineup that W is bringing, it is going to be a furious round. And I think the W50M, that's the first time I think we are seeing the E50M in the OLS, and now even 2 of them in one round. So once again, funny button tank together with double Bliskovica, 1 Minotauro, RHM, BZ75 on Westfield. Let's go.
Wow, that's going to be amazing. Like, W, are they just trying to fill the sky with shells? Because that's quite a choice with 2 badges and a Rheinmetall. Ugh, well, this will be definitely a very interesting battle.
I mean, W's motto is probably going to be, anyway, I saw the enemy and then I started blasting, is what we're going to see from those batchets here. Quadruple. I mean, if 3 batchets don't work, hey, let's make it 4. That being said, opening-wise, double badger, obviously, going towards the hills. They're going to try and play hold down. Meanwhile, though, unspotted, unbeknownst to the team of Storm, double badger together with Clough and that RHM are going to drive towards the southeastern part of the map, hoping to surprise this double funny button tank, but Munairos and DJ are already there, and they have brought back up the double Bliskovica together with the BZ75 are gonna come in, and those batchets, they need to back off. Click already taking a chunk of damage.
These are the kind of confrontations I just don't understand. It's happening so quickly. Storm just rushing in there. The BZ even using its rockets to get even quicker to the front line. Frugo's taking a huge amount of damage there by Lukin. And and he's out of there. Lukin, yay! Czech Republic for the win. Milo is going in behind of Itox, taking a bunch of health there from here. W is falling apart from an unrelentless advance by Storm.
Yeah, hover like a butterfly, but sting like a bee is the other team. That is Storm here, and indeed they're storming over W. Those nimble Batchats just unable to withstand the firepower that Storm is bringing here. Only 3 tanks remaining for the team in white, and got you, baby. That is not 4.7k DPG. That is a lot less for him. He's trying to stay alive. Miku probably the next one to get picked up, as he does, and this is going to be a furious, a quick, but a convincing round number 1 for Storm, who once again established that Westfield is their backyard.
Yeah, definitely. They have shown that they still dominate on Westfield, and W just melted under this Storm. That was amazing. Storm really just went in for the jugular.
Yeah, that wasn't even a hurricane. Like, that wasn't even a tornado. That was a hurricane over W. And the thing is, once again, like, I love, like the next person, I love the Batchat. It is a great tank. Ever since it's gotten the love in the patch, it is chef's kiss to play, but not 4 of them. Not in competitive Onslaught. It is just not enough armor to withstand it. It's just not enough hit points as soon as you're up against 7 players that play a coordinated game of World of Tanks. And we see, yes, the Batchats kind of on top of the damage, but half of them not even with a full clip coming in. W was gambling here, and they lost heavily.
Yeah, they did. They just melted away. The Batchat just can't survive such an onslaught, especially on a map like Westfield, where things happen so fast. You can appreciate a little bit of armor. I think the BZ-75 definitely helped there. You can even see that damage-wise, it wasn't that high, but it had the staying power. And poor Gotcha Baby, that's going to mess with his average.
That is going to be an absolute dent, not in his head, but indeed in his DPG moving forward. And yeah, Storm, I mean, they are going to be scratching their heads a little bit, like, hey, what were we just playing against? But they're going to have a smile on their faces while they're doing so, because, well, I mean, W, they tried to surprise Storm, absolutely. Yeah. They were trying to get the jump onto Storm, but the reactions, they were just picture perfect coming out from that Polish team. And in the end, I mean, yeah, there was after the first engagement, realistically, the round was already over because the Batchats did not find the opening, and after that they were not able to build the distance required to stay alive. So I don't think we are going to see quadruple Batchat again.
Probably not. I think it was a good try. I like when teams try to innovate, and quite a lot of the times it does work, because that surprise factor is enough to unsettle a lot of opponents. But Storm, this is, as you said, this is their backyard. They're not going to get unsettled by something novel as 4 Batchats. They're going to go in hard, and they're going to take out anyone who challenges them on Westfield. Let's see if they can do it again, though.
Well, round number 2 on Westfield is almost upon us, and if round number 1 is anything to go by, then we are going to see a quick 2-0, but then again, yeah, we are most likely not going to see quadruple Batchat. That was a one-off, that was a pocket strat, that was a burn strat, basically. One that you try once and then hope, like, you're basically hoping to catch the enemy of guard. If it succeeds, it looks super cool. But, well, it didn't, so it ended up looking kind of silly, to be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those strats that you try in the first match, which is precisely what they did. And you try and throw your opponent off guard, and even maybe for the future matches, it puts that a little bit of doubt into the opponent, and they're starting thinking, what other weird combinations are they going to come up with? But in this case, W just didn't pull off. Oh my.
Well,
oh my.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. W, they've been in the kitchen, they've been cooking, and so far the food was not good. Let's see if this second round is going to be a degustation menu for us. Once again, quadruple Batchat, double Batcher, and the RHM against Storm's triple Bliskavitz, the double E50M again, an IS-7 being played by Milo and the RHM. So both of the teams with the light tank. Let's see how much info they get to start with here. As, actually, W, they almost get the full spot, and they get spotted themselves, meaning they know that there is a light tank, but all of those 4 Batchats ended up not getting spotted on the team of W. So Storm, El Nosada, they are lacking crucial info.
Yes, it seems that W did get off to a nice start. They're now picking up also the information resource, which is good. Mafia seems to be taking the first strike and the second strike, so they will have artillery on their side. It seems that W have just went for the good old strategy of they won't expect us to do it again.
I mean, oh no, got you, baby. He was trying to get the damage numbers up there, and the damage he indeed got, but on his own tank as Toxic starting to drive in the Batcher, and now the trap gets sprung. Click and Frugo in those Batchats starting to furiously unload, albeit not a lot of damage yet on Milo. That is not really what they wanted to happen. The strike does come in, it connects with Frugo, the team captain himself, the one with the suit in the picture, but he is not suited for this situation. Down towards 219, and it is Miku with the first blood of the game to pick off Milo, but Click following to the grave, and now the Storm once again, it is coming on Westfield. Itox in the Badger down below 1k HP, and Storm, they are not getting caught off guard by this quadruple Batcher. They are standing strong, and they are going to get round number 2. Those pocket strats by W completely falling apart at them.
Well, you know what? I think the strategy was good. I think that Storm was caught off guard, but W just didn't execute it well. They went in and they missed like half of their shots. That kill should have been much quicker, and maybe then they would be able to roll Storm over before they managed to get their tanks back together and proceed with that counterattack. But like this, it just again melted away. It was a good effort, but the execution wasn't there.
I'm back to differ a little bit here. I think the effort was also absolutely horrible by W. It was just like, it was just not good.
I know, I liked it. It looked good. It looked like it's going to work. Like the first time when they went over that ridge, I thought they're going to melt Storm there. But as I said, I was looking at it and they were missing their shots. And when you've got a strat like this, you have to execute it flawlessly because there is no margin of error. With such a, as you say, pocket strat, you can't make mistakes, and they made mistakes.
I mean, they probably had it all calculated out well, but damn, it seems like W sucks at math, at least on Westfield here, because once again, this ended up completely blowing up into their faces. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to look at the shooting of the Batchats, but I think even perfect clips possibly wouldn't even have been enough to save the likes of W in this game. So let's see, 5-4-1, yeah, Click. That was not the round you wanted to have. Not perfect shooting by Frugo either. I mean, Miko, pretty okay. Got you, baby. Pretty okay. So, I mean, yeah, you had 2 Batchats where the shooting was arguably, like, meh. But I think in the end, the lingering problem here was that, first of all, the jump that W was getting on towards the IS-7, that is a tank with a lot of HP and not a lot of DPM. Meanwhile, it has a lot of very annoying armor to shoot in a lot of places. Yeah. So they weren't getting the engagement against the kind of important tanks with a lot of DPM that you want to get out at the start of the game. You can see both of those E50Ms survived. Not only did that happen, but also in general in Onslaught, autoloaders as a class are not as strong as in other game modes, simply because, well, we have the modifier giving every tank a flat amount of bonus HP. Meanwhile, the actual amount of damage in the clip doesn't change. So relatively, the clips get weaker and the survivability of the tanks gets stronger. So if you pick more autoloaders, that means obviously a lot of explosive potential, but I mean, W in both of those rounds weren't able to use it properly. Now, however, if you're a W fan, hopefully things change on Pilson.
Well, Professor Kehan definitely schooled us there. I feel much more intelligent now, but let's see if Pilson is another return of the Batchat strat. Okay, do you think, that they will go again for 4 Batchats? Surely not.
So I am not a betting man, but if I were, I would put my money on no.
Yeah. Well, but we said that for the second game of Westfield, and still they took it.
I mean, we said it would be weird, maybe a little bit stupid to do it again, and well, turns out we were correct about it, right? The score is 2-0 Storm, so let's say we were correct in our assessment.
The last thing Storm will expect is again for W to take 4 Batchats, so maybe that is
the last thing we would expect is Storm winning again after W picking that, right?
Yeah. Well, Pilsen though, it's going to be definitely an exciting matchup because this is W's pick. It is the traditional pick of the underdogs, as we have decided today. So let's see if that works for them. It hasn't worked out for Solyanka, but maybe W will be a bit more luckier.
I mean, let's see. Westfield was one thing, and Storm ended up taking it quickly 2.0, not without the help of W's picks. But now is another game, now is another map, and that one is Pilson. Storm is looking for the knockout punch here, for the clean knockout, for the clean 3-0, and they're doing so with an RHM with 1 E4, 1 E3, 1 V4, 1 Minotauro, 1 Batchat, and the 60 TP.
Well, W is going for a very mono-class deck here. They're going with Centro AX, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects 268/4s. That's some heavy, chunky stuff coming into Pilsen. And then a Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, of course. So what do you think about this one, Key?
Op davai is the motto that W is going to adopt for this round, and you can see the Juggernaut abilities getting activated on 4 of those V4s. That means they want to get into position quickly because it also gives a mobility increase while it's active.
Okay.
Now, it does run out here. This means the V4s won't be able to reduce the incoming damage during this initial engagement here, but at the moment they don't really need to. Itox is the only one, together with Frugo actually, that does end up taking a shot of damage. Now, Click here is going to take the Arty Strike, but that is a lot of initial damage that Storm is doing. They were well set up. That being said, though, Cap has almost completed here. 17 seconds, but Storm, they are taking the strike on the offside. They have taken the strike, I do believe. Actually, this might be problematic here for W, but no, Uzek is there to save the day. He goes into the Cap to block it.
Yeah, Storm is a bit out of position, but they are closing in now on W. We're seeing a little bit of what we saw in the game of, was it Hit and Run in Conquest? No, it was Solyanka, right? Where you then get taken apart from all sides. But W is holding their own so far, and they're taking Uzek down. Itox is also in one shot, but Uzek is out of here. Maiku is going in to support the eastern side and the strike, while Storm is holding the strike so far. Wow, okay, interesting situations.
Indeed, the kills are equal, but the HP aren't. Storm actually up 5,000 HP at the end of all of this. Yes, they've dropped Uzek in the E3, but the E3 is always supposed to be the tank to take the damage. He has a lot of armor. He had the damage reduction coming in as well. Yes, W still have the double cap, but Miku now gets killed by Lucky here, and this is actually detrimental for W. They're not even able to secure the offside where the RHM fight was ongoing. Clove now down towards a one-shot there as well, and Storm still with 6 tanks maps in the game. Tarxic will not be able to cap this one here. Still 30 seconds remaining. It is absolutely chaotic, but on the offside, Clueless has died in that RHM, and that is absolutely detrimental, paired with the fact that another V4 for W has just gone down, and now Sir Jacob with that Minotauro does go into the cap to block it. Now he is hold down Minotauro. You're not going to be penning that one here, so the cap block is there, enabling Storm to clean up the rest of the map, and that is not a lot to still clean up. It's only got you, baby, trying to pad the DPG in that Centurion Action X, but it's not going to save the day. Itox able to pick up Lucky, but that HP difference should be impossible to overcome, because Lucan, he is an annoying, a pestering nuisance in the side of Toxic.
Yeah, W really did fumble here. They were trying to go for the cap, but again, we saw a bit of what we saw before. You get taken apart from all sides if the enemy team isn't completely out of position. But I was also looking closely at W's performance there, and I do think that you'll find that the accuracy there wasn't very good. Again, I think the execution is lacking in that there were quite a few shots that they could have taken that could have at least given them a fighting chance in that HP battle that was going on, and they fumbled it. A lot of bad shots, really, which is a technical thing more than a strategic thing.
I think the biggest problem here for the team of W that went essentially for an all-in with those V4s onto the cap was that the reactions that Storm had to that were on point. Because essentially with a tactic like this, I mean, 5 V4s is already a dead giveaway, but with a tactic like this, you're putting all your eggs into one basket. You're trying to overwhelm the opposing team with a situation where they are under pressure and they make mistakes. And well, Storm didn't make any. They got the strike on the offside, which meant that resets, especially emergency resets on towards the cap, were always available. And then they had Uzek driving in to block the cap, giving the rest of his team enough time to build up the crossfire once again in the production facility in the middle of the map. So for Storm, everything going to plan here, and for W, they better forget quickly that this match ever happened. I mean, they won't have a whole lot of forgetting to do because all of the rounds were fairly quickly, but not painless, especially those Westfield rounds with the quadruple bat shot. But yeah, Storm versus W, going 3-0 the way of Storm. And this only leaves one last match of the day. That is Clueless versus Cashback. And that is once again an underdog with everything to win and nothing to lose at this point already against a team that has looked absolutely stellar. But before we go to the replays, there is one little thing we should still mention actually, and that is that we currently on the portal, check out the article, we have a campaign ongoing, and that is aimed at people that haven't played the game in quite some time. There is the Back in Action campaign, and this one is going to reward you with an absolute heap of rewards if you haven't been in the game in some times, or if you actually know someone that hasn't been in the game in some time. I think there is no better time in the year than September to come back and play World of Tanks. You are going to get rewarded not only with a lot of in-game goodies, but also with a lot of pretty cool tank rentals. So definitely go and check it out, guys. That being said, we are going to rest our voices and we'll be right back with the last match of the day. Don't go anywhere.
See you soon.
this year, the Onslaught Legends Series. This is your chance to make the event truly awesome by boosting the prize pool and getting a cool 2D style and other goodies in the process. Contribute now.
I was getting caught off guard here with my Onslaught mug. Speaking of mugging, that was a robbery, what we just saw here. 3-0. Storm absolutely crazy in this match here. But yeah, now it is Clueless against Cashback. And if the past performances are anything to go by, there is the possibility for another 3-0, unfortunately.
Yes. Were you preparing that whole segment the whole time we were off? You were, weren't you?
You know, I'm putting those replays to use. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yes, well, we could expect another 3-0, but Cashback haven't been doing quite as well as we all expected so far. So we could still maybe have an upset on our hands. But yeah, I do agree with you. Clueless haven't been doing as well as one would hope, even though they do have a very cute cat on their side.
Yeah, I think the biggest fact that we need to talk about here is that currently we have 2 teams playing, and those 2 teams have accumulated a total of 3 points so far, which is absolutely outrageous. For Clueless, maybe not so much as for Cashback, because Cashback going into the OLS were one of those teams that realistically everyone was expecting to fight for the top spots. But now, staring, you know, menacingly into the camera, this team of Cashback has not looked so menacing at all. I mean, they do have players that individually definitely are able to, to just overwhelm anyone. They have Liberty, cream of the crop when it comes to light tank players, but even he was getting outplayed last Tuesday. They have the Barbarian, that is, some would say even the GOAT. The chat is probably getting flooded with those emojis right now, but realistically, they haven't shown up as much and as well as most of us expected.
Yes, well, hopefully now they'll get back into their groove. Though I as well hope that Clueless will show up and give a good challenge to Cashback. And we can see with the community prediction, I would have even expected it to be more brutal against Clueless. But there's some probably that are losing a bit of confidence in Cashback after their latest showings in the latest rounds of the series.
Yeah, and some would say rightfully so. Cashback has not lived up to the promise and the potential that many have seen in them. Meanwhile, Clueless, they came into the league so far, no wins, and as with Conquest, it is kind of the story of nothing to lose, everything to gain. And what better way to start against a struggling team of Cashback here, because if Clueless win here today, they would be on even points, which is absolutely crazy. But that is just the way that this season has developed.
And they actually had quite a good showing against Solyanka, right? Clueless. They were up. It was 3-2 in the end. So they do have the potential to do well. Maybe they will against Cashback.
I mean, yeah, we do see, first of all, Nookie from the team of Clueless here, and we see the tanks played Mouse, and he is lifting the heavy weights, not only IRL, as we can see by those bicepses, he is also pulling those weight in the game. But yeah, the fact that Clueless has been losing a lot of rounds is also translating into his stats. KD of 0.6, not so good. The average damage, that is 2,000, well, probably less now. Than Gotcha Baby, who is the man to beat currently. The pen rate still okay, 80%, but nowhere near those crazy pen rates that we saw earlier. So yeah, it turns out if your team is losing, you're gonna have a bad time.
That's true. But right now, our first map is going to be Halluf, which we haven't seen today yet. And in fact, it is the last time that we'll see it, right, Key?
Possibly. Nothing is decided here yet, definitely. But yeah, El Halluf is going to be the map where we kick it off. And El Halluf has also been a map where a lot of underdogs once again have been picking it, because El Halluf is a map where you can get the jump on your opponent. Most of the action is focused in that northwestern part of the map around the strikes and the cap, and yeah, the area is rather small, but there is a big mountain in the middle of it. So if you get the timing right, even as the underdog, you can just snowball it out. And to be honest, the pick coming in from Cashback, that one is not entirely surprising. Cashback is known to be a very good Ghost Town team, and they are known to specialize on Ghost Town. They are sometimes even picking 7 different tanks, which means that they're going to have, once again, a lot of those, specialist roles that each of their players is adapting with the tanks that they are playing. But everything that has an upside most of the time also has a downside. And this means that Cashback is opening themselves up to a lot of, early counter pushes where you have a lot of, in-your-face brawling tanks that are just trying to create the synergy amongst themselves to push on towards the enemy, hoping to generate like 3, even 4 pickups right at the start of the game. And all of a sudden you have, like, for example, a 6 versus 3 situation. And from those, usually there is no coming back. First of all, though, El Halluf. And El Halluf has been, brawly for most of the OLS so far. Now, predictions coming in, there is a trend.
Yes, there is a trend, though. As you can see, I'm a more of a positive person, and I do believe that Clueless could at least get one game in, maybe on El Halluf, where they could win over with maybe a surprising overmatch if they manage to get 5 or 6 tanks together and push on Cashback and make some decisive damage that there's no coming back from. But yeah, the trend is obvious.
All right, I'm going to say it here now. If Clueless is going to take a round or 2 in this match, then it definitely has to start on El Halluf. I think this is where they have their chance. And now a bit of an unusual pick coming through here. Nuki this time choosing the Udas 1516. So once again, Inspire Medium. Those are kind of squishy, but at least the Udas, when it's hull down, can tank quite a few shots together with triple Blisker, double CS, 1BZ 75, and for Cashback, X marks the spot. The rocket boosters are gonna get activated at the start of the game. Triple BZ together with a CS63, a Bliskowitzer, and a V4. Now Liberty also playing Inspire Medium. STB1, I'm not the biggest fan of it currently, but if the STB1 is actually able to stay in the back to keep inspiring his whole team and then able to put in that DPM, it can be an absolute menace. That being said, Eclipse going for something a little bit different. He does take the information tower, which is going to grant his team the full info about the opponent, but that also means that he's going to be out of game for the time being, as Lynx does drive over and he is going to start capping the arty strike. This one has been crucial in the times before. Aka not able to block it here, and he is going to start peeking his shot going wide. He had HE loaded. He definitely wanted to avoid the arty strike getting taken. Squeeze coming in, but the arty strike does get capped. Where does Lynx use it now is the question.
Oh, and also he's thinking of falling back, but I think he's in too much of a volatile position there to do it. And David Stein and Nuki are trying to peek over there, taking quite a few good shots, especially on Iced, who's taken quite a considerable amount of damage. Lynx is still trapped there with Squeezy poking through and damaging him quite substantially, getting another hit there, and he's not doing any damage in return. Was the strike really worth it? I'm not sure.
I mean, the strike was worth it in the sense that it got 1200 damage done, but the problem for Lynx was that he was essentially cornered here. He cannot cross back away because there's going to be 6 Cashback guns or 5 aiming his way. He wouldn't survive that, so good stuff by Cashback, trading out the first CS63 here. Literally Clueless now down in tanks, down in HP as well, and this means that this is Cashback's game to win, and Clueless, they are, relegated to a little bit of a Watcher role. Aka choosing against peeking against the double Bliska. I think that is a fair choice to make. He's getting a little bit restless here. W and S, W and S, and he's thinking about crossing back over. I mean, the Bliskavitzers, they do lose damage over distance, but that distance is not very, very long. And here's Squeezy. He has the hold down against Kayak Clue, but obviously Onslaught modifiers, those cupolas are pretty big on the BZ.
It's true. So he has to still be quite nervous, and because those cupolas are on both sides, it doesn't really matter if he's on the right or left. He's always going to be quite vulnerable. But it seems that he is trying to take Kayaklu down there. Let's see if he manages to put a hit in. But otherwise, it's a bit of a waiting game. I think literally Clueless have understood that they really have to hope Cashback is going to overextend and maybe commit to an assault that's going to bite them back in the backside. But Cashback is adamant on not making that mistake.
Indeed, and we do see that once again a strike is getting taken by Clueless. That is, Eclipse that is right now getting that artillery support up and ready for his team, but is it going to be enough? That is the question. I mean, that strike right now, the Cashback tanks are pretty much clumped up there, but most of them aren't actually spotted. So, as it seems
two
right
of them
now,
are, so they do know at least about two. They could drop it in there. There aren't too many places where Cashback can really hide. But Cashback also have a strike on their side that they haven't used yet. I'm thinking, what are they? I guess they're waiting for a better spot.
I'm not really sure what they're waiting on right now, but we do see the northwestern strike is also almost off of reload, and Aka, he doesn't have a strike right now, so as soon as the reload is done, or the recharge, which is now the case, Aka is going to start taking that strike in that CS63, while Squeezy is able to hold on to his strike. So 2 versus 1 is there right now. That was a baby strike coming out from the CS63 of Eclipse, who does manage to hit Squeezy. He doesn't reset Aka though in that CS63. That is obviously a huge reason why CS63s are getting picked as well, because they have that baby strike. They can provide resets when and where needed. Now, 150 damage there is not a whole lot. I'm not entirely sure if that one was worth it even, but we'll have to see.
Right? But even if he did reset it, there wasn't really anything they could have done to counter it in the long run. So that strike would have been picked up anyway. The CS63 is taking a strike as well there, Eclipse, so now we're going to have 2 strikes apiece. Actually, Clueless used their strike in the meantime. I didn't quite register it. I'm not sure how much damage they managed to get out of it. It seems at around 1,000, which isn't bad. But yeah, Cashback making a bit of a push there.
I mean, they are starting to make a push, and Dady taking the worst of it here, trading 2v1, but obviously the Juggernaut ability is going to save him from the worst of it, as now on the upper side, it seems like action is getting started. Action is coming, as some would say, and now literally Clueless with the push to win the game for themselves, but is it actually going to do that? The strikes do go down, and they're absolutely brutal. Clueless on the top of that mountain getting nuked, as Ian, the team captain in the Bliskowitz, is the first one to bite the dust. Barbarian now starting to come in with that V4. He's waiting for a little bit of backup. Are they going to push into the dip? That looks to be the case. Liberty now also in that STB1 is there. 12 to 13 degrees of gun depression. Pretty good, as I said, gets the next pickup. Davidstein to follow to the grave. And once again, the way at the ramp is shot. But Cashback, they are starting to bully their way through, and they are going to bully their way all towards a first round win against Clueless. The underdogs here unable to surprise on El Halluf.
Yes, it seemed that Clueless was trying to bait the 2 tanks to get out of position, and then use that to try and overpower Cashback there on in the dip. But the tanks managed to get back in time to annihilate Clueless. It was a good play, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, it absolutely didn't work out, and we really have to start wondering about what Clueless was trying to achieve with the first CS63 at the northwestern corner, because realistically, Lynx was getting out-traded through none of his fault. Like, he was trading against 2 tanks with 1 in backup, but he was trading against a BZ75 that was hull down, and that obviously has the higher alpha. That was Squeezy, and Squeezy just had a monster of a game. 999. And that is not because I'm German and trying to be negative. No, that's just because he played good.
Yes, definitely. Like, over 6,000 damage. That's going to prop up his average, that's for sure. But the BZ does have that opportunity to do that much damage, and it definitely performed. Yep, Clueless losing out 7-0. Pretty a substantial defeat. I don't know. Will they manage to figure something else out on El Halluf in this next one? So far, I haven't really seen it happening. Maybe they need to take a few more BZs to get there quicker and manage to overmatch Cashback in the dip, but yeah, that was pretty convincing to me. Clueless not really having a clue.
Indeed. I think Cashback just did a very, very controlled playstyle here. Because at the start of the game, if we think back, they were like, all right, someone is taking the spotting tower, someone is taking the radar. So they know that they are 7 versus 6 in the corner to begin with. And then they were like, all right, we are at the corner. There is only one CS63 here, together with one BC75 in the back aiming. And they just did a very effective job of trading down that CS63. And as soon as that happened, they just had to wait, because they were up in guns, meaning, it's up to Clueless to do something. And, well, they weren't really giving any opportunity to Clueless to get a good engagement, which at that point in time was everything and all that, Cashback needed to do. 7-0 was the final result, and I think it reflects just how well and how controlled Cashback played.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Clueless did try their best there, trying to bait out the 2 tanks on the side and then committing. But even then, it was a even matched engagement with them attacking, which always comes with a disadvantage. So yeah, the result was pretty much set at that point. But now Cashback is coming as with 3 BZs, a CS63, an STP1, Blitzkowitzer, and the Object. So they're really going for speed on this one.
Indeed, and literally Clueless are not going to be much slower simply because of the Juggernaut ability on those Blitzkowitzers. They are going to boost towards the northwestern area of the map as well, together with one UDES of 430U. So once again, the funny button medium together with the CS63. Let's see if Lynx has a better round than the last one. And to round it off, literally Clueless are also bringing a BZ75. Cashback, once again, very straightforward. 7 tanks towards the northwest, and this time for literally Clueless, leaving no one behind. It is the same tactic for them, as we are going to not have a clash of CS in the corner like last time, because Lynx this time around is going to be uncontested. He starts taking the strike. He is going to be able to do that. Arca taking a shot in his CS.
And didn't manage to get to his strike as well. Though Cashback does have some extra HP to play with, so they do have that on their side. And now Squeezy managed to get there down to the strike as well. But Clueless definitely now have a better position by their strike, so they'll hopefully be able to hold it.
Now, Coyote getting sent down in towards the ditch as well. And all of a sudden, that BZ75 of Squeezy doesn't look as pushable anymore, because all of a sudden there's over 7,000 HP in that dip that the team of literally Clueless would need to chew through to get any guns out of the game. I think that was very necessary to send Coyote down there. So good job by Cashback, who have taken quite some damage here, as Little in the Blitzkowitzer is also trading a little bit. But Cashback have actually sent a CS63 back And this might come to hurt Clueless substantially because they are unaware of this happening. That CS63 on the offside is going to be a huge pain in the butt, quite literally, for that team of Clueless, because it's going to be hitting from behind.
And do you think he'll try and take the information tower as well, or will he just go straight behind that Bliskowitzer and that BZ75 and start chipping away?
I think if you're that CS, you don't go for the information tower.
Yeah, you don't need it at this point.
You just start blasting straight away because realistically, Cashback, they know where most of the tanks of Clueless are, and they most importantly know where the CS and the 430U are. Those are the two tanks that can chase the CS63, but they are stuck in that corner. They cannot leave. So this means that CS63, that's currently not on screen right now, is actually the most important tank. He is the wild card, and I think Dady or Ian are soon going to feel the pain of CSDPM hitting them in the back, and that is exactly what we see here. Dady takes a shot in the back, and this must be the go sign for Clueless. They need to do something, otherwise they lose HP
they
over
need to push
time.
right now.
But Ian driving in here, taking 2.3k.
Ouch.
HP directly,
Double strike
the
coming
double
down.
strike as well. Make that one, make that two. The group heal is actually enough to keep him alive, but not for long. Coyote there to pick it up. Dady already down towards a two-shot as well for himself. Liberty scrambling back in that STB1 here, trying to get away, and I think he will, even as Dady goes down towards a one-shot here. This is just catastrophic for Clueless. I mean, right now they're still staying close in the HP department, but Davidstein, the next one to get focused out, down and out he goes, as Nookie and Eclipse are too close for comfort against the tanks of Cashback.
Yes, it seems that Cashback did perform a very good fighting retreat there, managing to keep a distance, managing to outmaneuver them from the back as well. Akag came back into the fight, tied up Kayakru and Eclipse for those crucial 10 seconds that it took for Cashback to retreat while firing effectively into Clueless. And Clueless is now so far behind HP-wise that there isn't really anything that they can do. In fact, Akak could have stayed in his position and kept harassing them from the back, though he instead chose to regroup with his teammates and push as one against Clueless. And now we only have Kayaklu left in his Udes. Will he manage to get a few more shots in? Will he manage to take Liberty out with him? Or the Barbarian? No, he's out of here, and Barbarian, in fact, takes that last kill, and he's got over 5,000 damage, which is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, indeed. Cashback here at the end of the round going for just the overwhelm the enemy approach, which at that point in time was the best thing to do. They just created such a target-rich environment at which the two remaining tanks for Clueless were like, all right, we have a lot to shoot, but we don't really have a lot of it backing us up anymore.
We have too much to shoot at, to be honest.
I mean, we did see this CS rotation already, I think 2 days ago on Tuesday, where it also ended up winning the game. And I think it was Conquest that time on the receiving end against W. So yeah, it turns out when the gameplay in the northwest of El Halluf gets stale, then just splitting off one tank and forcing the engagement to come out from the opposing team, where you're then able to do the damage on towards those incoming tanks, can be quite successful as well for Barbarian here. Top of the board, 5k and 2 kills to his name. Liberty there, the next one with 4k. As much as I dislike the STB, I cannot fault the plays that Liberty is doing.
Yeah, the STB did some pretty good work. I would have, in fact, expected the STB to be the one that peel off, but the CS did a great job at managing to outmaneuver Clueless, and Clueless then tried to react, but they reacted too late and got punished for it.
All right, so Clueless's map pick of El Halluf turning absolutely sour for themselves. They are not able to take a single round on it. In fact, they just lost 14 tanks in 2 rounds while only destroying 3.
That hurts. And
not
now they're
so
going
great.
into Cashback Town, which I think won't
Cashback
fill
Town.
them. They won't fill them with too much confidence. Let's see if they can do something there. But this is Cashback turf, and it's going to be hard to dislodge them from that.
If this is Cashback Town, is the other map then called Stormfield, maybe?
Stormfield. Oh, that's got a good ring to it. Better than Cashback Town to me. Let's maybe do Cash Town then. Because that's like Ghost Town. Cash Town and Stormfield. Yeah. We're bringing the new lingo into our let's.
Well, first of all, Cashback have to demonstrate that this is actually
True.
their hood, you know? Because we've been talking a lot about how good they are on this map, but they still have to perform here, no less.
And teams do like making us fools in always doing the other thing than we predict. So maybe Cashback will just do this on purpose and make us look the fools.
Well, first of all, we'll have to pity the fool that thinks that, it will be easy for Clueless to make a comeback here, because they are down 0-2, and it is not going to get any easier from here, because Cashback, they do obviously pick Ghost Town for a reason, and the reason is that they are, as simple as it sounds, they are playing good at playing it. Now, Clueless, I think they need to somehow find a surprise engagement against Cashback, and then they need to, step up individually to convert that surprise into damage, into kills, step up individually, and just win from there. And for Cashback, I mean, they realistically just need to keep doing what they've been doing, and that is playing well. Now, Cashback, they are not going to go with the approach of, 7 different tanks. Oh, man, I was so hoping for that ST2 to get locked in, but it's not going to happen. Instead, double mouse, 1705A, 1 Batchat, Leopard 1, EBR, RHM. So double light here for Cashback as they do switch over to a 277 with one of their tanks, but that is once again a very specialistic setup versus literally Clueless, just through the wall approach.
Yeah, it seems like it. They're going with the 60 TP, Batcha, Bliskowitz, Object, 2 Object 268s, and E3 to boot. I think Cashback is getting very nimble, right? Because they got the Rheinmetall and they got the EBR plus the Leopard, which also is quite a nimble tank. So I'm expecting quite a lot of maneuvering on the outside of town.
And that is indeed what you get here from Little in that EBR 105. He's getting backed up by ISET and Liberty, but that is not distracting Clueless from what they want to do. And that is indeed take the cap here, and they have done so with triple tank. However, Coyote with that 705 is already in the strike. He's going to be taking it because no one from Clueless is contesting there. Kayaklu actually taking a first shot of damage in his Batchat as the strike does get taken. And the thing is, Cashback, they've also taken a point of information. This means that they are going to be spotting that cap. The strike does come in, and yes, the Mouse of Twilight does take a lot of damage. The same can be said for Squeezy in the 277, but I think literally Clueless, they're thinking that they cannot cap this one out. Instead, the TDs are going to converge on towards Barbarian, but only 2 shots out of 3 connect here. Lynx is starting to drive in as well, but this Juggernaut ability, it's hurting those TDs as well, because it is just taking those track HPs very, very low. Barbarian in that Mouse now starting to hang on for dear life, down towards 1500. As in the bottom left of your screen, you see the Batchat engagement going on as well. It's Kajaglu against, I'm not actually sure who it is. It is Kajaglu against Squeezy here, yeah, in that 277, but he is going to survive for the time being. Same for Barbarian, 284 HP, literally Clueless with 3k HP advantage and the first blood. So this is Clueless's chance, but Kajaglu, I think he might have gotten found. I think he might have gotten busted.
Yeah, it seems Scarecrow's hiding space has been found. Liberty is toying with him there, but Squeezy gets the kill in the end. But Coyote is in a bit of a trouble here, being ganked by Nuki and David Stein by the strike, which means that Literally Clueless will get that strike as well if they stay there for long enough to get it. Maybe they will decide to push on instead. But no, David Stein is staying there to take the strike for his team. And so far, Clueless has the gun advantage and the HP advantage, and they're on cap. This is Clueless's chance.
I mean, so far, so good for the team of Clueless. They are up in guns indeed, and they're also up in HP. But Cashback, they do have double light tank, and they also have the Leopard. And remember, the Leopard does get the baby strike, the same as the CS63. So as soon as the info comes out on towards the cap, the baby strike might be enough to reset. 10 seconds on the cap here, as a third tank is going to boost that timer. In comes the plane. Lynx starting to push off the cap, but Nuki is actually getting reset from somewhere. And I think Clueless do realize we need to take at least one more tank out of the game before we start capping. That one's going to be Squeezy.
There we
Squeezy
go.
does
Nicely
fall.
done.
But the fact of the matter actually remains that Cashback is still playing with double light plus a sniper tank with baby strike. And now Clueless do realize that, and Eclipse has been reset. And like, even HE is enough. The E3 can be held down all at once. If it gets reset by HE, the cap timer does get reset as well. And this is why we see David now also going on the cap. So Cashback, they have not given up yet. They want to close this match out 3-0. But literally Clueless, they want to actually make this a match. They are struggling, they are fighting, and they want their first point.
Yes, I think if Clueless do swarm that cap, surely Cashback can't take it from them, even with all the little strikes in the world, no? Because as long as they keep moving and keep capping, at some point Cashback will have to come in and make a mistake. And even if they don't, then the HP difference should be enough for Clueless to take this, no? There you go. They managed to miss the strike, but another strike's coming for Davidson. Oh, that was a shame. He drove right into it. Another plane coming in. Okay, I might be eating my hat in a minute here.
I mean, the nimble tanks of Cashback are doing their best here to delay what seems to be the inevitable. And that is the win for Clueless here. Another reset coming through. Liberty is going to shave a bit more HP off of David. But the problem here is that, you know, at some point they have to come close. ISET is going to take the big strike here in that Leopard. So once again, that's going to be available. And this means that for the time being, Clueless cannot really cap. But ISET, he doesn't have enough time to go away from those tanks that now start converging at Nuki. He knows that Leopard 1 is caught. He is even eyeing himself a little bit off that RHM. But that one stays safe while driving away. Good shot by Nuki here. Once again, lifting the heavyweights and Lynx to pick it up. So ISET falls. It is 2 light tanks against the world.
Yes, it seems that literally did a good job there. I was a bit hesitant because I thought that leaving that cap might be a mistake, but they did manage to get that Leopard very well. I thought he'll manage to get away from there, but it wasn't to be. Little is taking another strike, just trying to whittle away that huge HP difference that Clueless has at the moment. Clueless are back on the cap, trying to put pressure on Cashback to make a move. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see how Cashback can take this, though they're doing the darndest of making this as difficult as possible for Clueless. And it might be that Clueless will panic at some point and make a huge mistake, though. Hopefully they keep a cool head and just stick to the plan and wait it out.
We'll see. Little has now once again taken a strike. The plane from the RHM is going to light up everyone. Down comes the strike, but he's only going to reset one. David Stein, he had his ability active. That means he doesn't take the full 400 damage, only 280 instead from the strike. But yeah, Cap, once again, is ongoing, and it is an ongoing issue. Nuki, however, did miss his shot on that EBR, but in turn, the RHM gets picked up. Now it's a 1v4. Little has to come in. Little has to go if he wants to provide more resets. But this means he is so close to the enemy tanks. He does manage to take down the 60 TP, but it is not going to change the fact that literally Clueless are going to win the game. The last shot by the EBR doesn't even like deal damage or reset. So finally, after what seems like an eternity of Clueless struggling to close out the game, they are going to reward themselves with a round on Ghost Town.
Yeah, that was a heavy fought one, but they managed, and they won by Cap, which is also very nice to see. I think it's the first one today, is it?
I think it is the first one today, and to be honest, like it doesn't really matter because the EBR was so close. They were going to win regardless, and the round was being won earlier than that Cap, obviously. What is kind of concerning is how long those players from Cashback actually managed to keep it going while realistically there was no chance anymore. And you know, it didn't ever really come close, but it felt like if Clueless misstepped just a little bit, that Cashback might even find a way back into this game, which is crazy.
It was crazy. And also, I think Cashback gave their team time to plan as well. Time to consolidate and think what their next steps are. Because this is their pick. This is supposedly Cashback Town, but Clueless have made it Clueless Town. So let's see if Clueless can repeat their success and maybe upset Cashback's so far quite dominant streak against Clueless.
I mean, an upset is still some distance away, and that distance is exactly 2 wins for Clueless, to be honest. And, you know, it's kind of low best-offs right now. It is only best of 5, which means that a lot of things can happen. But Cashback in those first 2 rounds, where they actually managed to get the points on the board, they did look very convincing. And even in this last one here, yes, Clueless were getting a lot of good engagements. And I think they also did a few good calls with like pushing off the Cap with triple TD on towards the mouth of Barbarian.
Yeah,
I think that was a very good call by itself. It all came and stemmed from the fact that, you know, Cashback was picking such a nimble lineup with Leopard plus Double Light, and the 277 is not the heaviest of heavy tanks either. So yeah, Clueless were doing a good job of capitalizing on that, but it still seems like Cashback has been the better team so far in the match, and I think 2-1 right now is an absolutely fair scoreline.
And also, even with all those setbacks in Ghost Town, it was obvious how Cashback knows Ghost Town. How they were able to use those last 2 light tanks and a medium tank to delay the inevitable and really make it difficult to Clueless to win what otherwise should have been quite an easy win at that point. So it was just a demonstration of how well Cashback knows Ghost Town to, even at that point, stay in the game. So yeah, it was always an uphill battle for Clueless. They did manage to put their foot in the door. Let's see if they can repeat it. It'll be a magnificent thing to do. But yeah, this is Cashback's turf, and it's them that need to be dislodged.
Well, you said it. Clueless have now gotten their foot in the door, and the question on everyone's mind is, are they going to, you know, widen the gap here? Are they going to be forced their way into the room, or is Cashback just slam it shut regardless and crush the foot in the process?
Thank you for that image, Key. But Clueless already managed this with Solyanka when they managed to go 2-2. So they do have a proven track record of being able to stand up to these heavyweights. So it is possible. It's not out of the possibilities. And I think I did predict 3-1, didn't I? I'm just spot on today.
I think you did. You might be on a roll with those predictions. Let's see. First of all, I mean, if Clueless wins the next one, yours is down the drain as well.
That's
So
true, yeah.
I guess I'm rooting for Clueless, and they do have quadruple 268 v4. They have the double bat chat on Ghost Town. All right, that is very interesting. Make that 3 v4s as they do switch one away to an IS7 and Nookie with that mouse.
And Cashback has what we were hoping for, and that's a very varied team. We've got 7 different tanks. This is their specialty. So they're going with a mouse, they're going with a 705, a Batchat, Leopard, E3, EBR 105, and the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. So that's 2 light tanks, and again, a very nimble Leopard 1. So they are going for that control around the town, plus the Batchat, which I think, did they have a Batchat in the last one? I think not.
No. By the way, that Rheinmetall pronunciation was almost spot on. That was very, very good. Compliments. First of all, though, Cashback on the outside here, on the 9-0 line, they are once again going to take control with that double light tank, which at that point, at this point in time, is a signature play for them on Ghost Town. However, they need to be careful creating such signature plays simply because it makes you predictable. And if you, if you don't want to be one thing that is, you know, if you, as a team, you don't want to be predictable, period. Cashback is starting to become just that on Ghost Town. Is it going to be hurting them here? Well, the only person that's hurting right now is Eclipse in that Batchat who takes the first damage of the game.
But Clueless are getting that strike in the west, while Cashback are getting the strike on the east with the 705. Clueless are taking their position in the middle, and I feel like Cashback aren't really spreading their lights as much as they did in the last game. They do have a very solid position there in the south with the Leopard and the Batchat. The Batchat is now moving forward to challenge the other Batchat, Clueless's Batchat. And Clueless's Batchat is coming to support their Batchat. Oh, there's so many Batchats, it's ridiculous.
The king is back, baby. Well, Lynx, first of all, is going to take a beating here as he does end up overextending in the western part of the city, and there is a lot of guns aimed at him. We see him having Juggernaut active, but that means it's just so much easier to keep him tracked there out in the open. Finally, he does manage to make it back. He manages to angle his tank in a different way, but angling a tank does not end up helping you against an artillery strike. Well-placed one, David and Lynx both taking 400 apiece.
Also, you can't angle against 3 angles, right? So he can angle as much as he wants to, but if there's 3 people pointing their guns on him, it's very difficult to not take damage. And he's taking a lot of damage. And Squeezy took the first kill there, which was very unfortunate. We've got some nice aiming by Squeezy against a mouse as well, taking some more damage. Liberty there supporting him. On the west, Cashback has pushed Clueless off of the strike as well. And it seems that Cashback are taking their town back.
Indeed, Cashback have slowed things down a bit, but now they are going to accelerate, and they are going to be a train without brakes here on towards Eclipse, who's trying to do as much damage as he still can on the way out. But Liberty, an HE shell in towards the Batchat, makes him a one-shot for Squeezy, who picks it up 2-0 in the kill department. And Adam, look at that top side. It is double the HP for Cashback. Ian trying to drive in against Coyote. So yes, Clueless are going to create an overmatch here against that 705A that just did another big pen in towards that B4 of Ian, making him a one-shot. Oh my god, Dady not even penetrating his shot here against the 705A. So things are just going
David
from bad
Stein's
to worse.
in trouble as well. IS7 is getting ganked from behind by the Leopard, getting surrounded by all sides, trying to escape, but I think he's done for. Nuki is down as well. David Stein is down. Ian is down. Jeez, this is a complete bloodbath, and Dady is out as well, and we're left with only Kayaklu in his Batchat.
Yeah, no, at this point in time in this round, you're left wondering with only one question, and that is Twitch actually the correct platform for this stream? Because that was brutal, what Cashback just did to Clueless.
R-rated, yeah. Kayaklu's out, and it's 3-1. I guess I'm the best cast out there because my predictions are spot on.
I mean, police, I want to report a murder. I've just found the body of Clueless's hopes and dreams, and it is lying dead in the streets of Ghost Town.
Yeah.
That was not pretty if you're holding it with the team with the cutest logo in the league. That was...
I just imagined the little cat being all. Oh no, that's not a nice image. Yeah, Cashback definitely shown that they're the ones to beat on Ghost Town, and they totally dominated. Just their back chat play, their light play, it was flawless. And look at that, 7-0.
Yeah, once again, the team of Clueless not able to take a single kill off of the team of Cashback in this round. But yeah, we were pitting the team of Clueless a little bit. On the other side of things, though, we now have the team of Cashback. Before this match day, they were at only 3 points. They are going to double those with this result. And I think this is kind of what they needed, right?
Yeah.
Because the first 3 days realistically weren't really going the way that they had hoped for themselves, and they needed an opponent where they could sort of find their way back in towards their synergies again, where they could start believing in themselves again. This now means we are going to be heading in towards the standings after match day 4, so over half of phase 1 of the OLS has been completed, and well, things have been shaken up quite a bit here, because now the team of Solyanka, who was in place 1 after 3 days, now finds themselves in place number 4. This time it is Storm leading the pack. However, 4 teams still on 9 points. Storm, Hit and Run, Mafia, and Solyanka, all of them on even points still. Then Cashback and W a bit behind, 6 points. And for Clueless and Conquest, slowly but surely, it is starting to look very grim.
It's starting to dawn that they're not really digging themselves out of that hole. But I think today has been a really day of equalizing, because now everything's up for grabs again. There's 4 teams on 9 points, 2 teams on 6 points. No one, well, except for Clueless and Conquest, are really far from being in the top spots. So a very interesting now situation we have in the standings, that's for sure.
Yeah, indeed. And I just quickly want to remind everyone, well, first of all, the announcement here, well, if you didn't catch up on it last time that we showed it, which was before this match, currently Back in Action is still ongoing, and this means that if you haven't logged into the game in quite some time, now is your chance, actually, because you're getting some pretty sweet rewards for doing so. Or maybe some of your friends haven't played World of Tanks in a long time, then definitely, maybe write them on Discord, give them a DM on WhatsApp, Telegram, wherever, but yeah. It is not the worst, actually by far not the worst. It is sort of the best time to get back into World of Tanks right now with all of the crazy stuff that 1.26 has to offer.
And there's also a What Plus free trial, right? Which your friend and you can take on board, and there you get the exclusive tier 8 TS54, which is pretty cool. I played it the other day, and it's a really
little disclaimer
nice
here that only works once per lifetime per account. So if you already claimed that free trial, you're not going to be able to do it again. But yeah, if you haven't done so yet, do go back into the game. And that leads us slowly but surely, and I'm very sorry to say this, Adam, but into the direction of the end of today's stream. And I have to say, it was an absolute blast casting with you. I believe this was, as weird as it sounds, our first time together. And you know what I have with me here as well? It is the Onslaught mug. I just wanted to show it one more time. Anyway, thank you for a fantastic day once again. It was an absolute blast for me. Thanks also to all the people behind the camera, because we are here smiling in the camera and, just yapping around, but there is a lot of other people that are not only working in production but also playing and creating those awesome matches for us to spectate. And last but not least, I want to thank all of you, yes, you, that are sitting in front of your screens and watching, because without you, we could be doing all of this and it wouldn't matter. So thank you very much for being with us. And that all being said and done, if you haven't managed to claim your drops yet, we are going to raid another familiar face right after. It is going to be the one, the only Muffington. So hopefully you're going to be enjoying your time there. And that being said, Adam, I'll leave the last words to you.
The last words for me. Well, in that case, tune in next time, and until then, cheerio!
What? What's happened? You.
Let's move out.
Ready to fire.
Kaboom! Let's destroy this lunatic.
He's back.